SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 was the first wrestling game to introduce an iconic game mode still around today, Universe Mode. I am combining the unpredictable nature of this game mode with a booker familiar to this channel, ChatGPT. We are placing the responsibility of booking each show week to week on this AI engine and sending it down the road to WrestleMania. Things will constantly be shaken up by the happenings of the universe, so ChatGPT will have to adjust their plans each week. This is a big one today, so let's get right into it. We start at the Royal Rumble in a US title match between Evan Bourne and Sheamus. Sheamus attacks Evan Bourne before the match, but is unable to get an easy victory as Bourne kicks out and continues to fight. Eventually, Sheamus is able to keep Bourne down for the 3 count. Intercontinental title match, Kofi Kingston and Christian. These two put on a phenomenal match that saw both competitors carry momentum at crucial points in the contest. In the end, Christian surprised Kofi with a lightning-fast power slam to secure the victory in the Intercontinental Championship. After the match, Cody Rhodes took out both men. Alicia Fox defended her Divas Championship against Melina and Gail Kim. Fox aimed to gain an advantage and continue her title run by running in on Gail Kim from behind. Melina didn't let anything get too far from that initial attack though, and would quickly take control. Temporary alliances fell apart just as quickly as they were formed, and Alicia Fox walked away still the Divas Champion after an action-packed triple threat. World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4-Way match. The Undertaker came into this match with an extremely tall task and extremely low odds to retain his championship. Ray was the world champion earlier in the year, and Big Show has been a thorn in the champ's side for months. But if anyone could defy the odds, it's the Dead Man. In an exciting, fast-paced Fatal 4-Way, each of the contenders made a case for their potential championship reign, and The Undertaker showed why he is the champion to begin with. However, it was the Big Show who was able to overcome the slim odds of victory and walk out of the Royal Rumble as the new World Heavyweight Champion. Triple H challenging Randy Orton for the WWE title. Randy Orton had just retained his WWE Championship against Triple H the month prior in a grueling TLC match. To nobody's surprise, Triple H has managed another shot at the championship. These two were no strangers to one another, and it was apparent here in this match. Randy Orton was able to fend off the cerebral assassin for months, but eventually Orton gave in to the game, and a new WWE Champion was crowned. It's time for the Royal Rumble match. Edge and John Morrison started out the match, and we saw competitor after competitor fall to the floor, over the top rope, and eliminated out of the match. Their aspirations and dreams of headlining WrestleMania are over. We saw the final two as Luke Gallows and David Hart Smith, where David Hart Smith takes home the victory and earns himself a shot at the world champion at WrestleMania. Who'd have thought it'd be David Hart Smith? Coming into Raw, we've got the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho in one-on-one competition. Shawn Michaels defeats Jericho, and Michaels extends his hand as a sign of respect, but Jericho slaps the hand away. Sheamus dominated Tyson Kidd in the next match, and Evan Bourne came out to stop an excessive beating from Sheamus. The main event of Raw features the Royal Rumble winner, where Batista attacks David Hart Smith before the match. D.H. Smith surprisingly fights back and makes it interesting, but you can tell the damage has been done. Batista believes Smith doesn't deserve the WrestleMania title match, and his Royal Rumble win was a fluke. Over on SmackDown, we see Cody Rhodes and Shelton Benjamin defeat Matt Hardy and Kofi Kingston. All men are competing to become a new contender for Christian's Intercontinental title. The Chosen One, Drew McIntyre, defeats Finlay handedly in one-on-one contest. And Christian defeats Rey Mysterio in singles competition. Cody Rhodes again makes an appearance and stares down Christian, hinting that maybe he will be the one to challenge for the Intercontinental title. Jack Swagger and The Undertaker compete in a steel cage match to determine the #1 contender for Big Show's World Heavyweight title. Both men deal plenty of damage, but it is The Undertaker who gets the better of Swagger in this contest. Back on Raw, Tyson Kidd and Ted DiBiase taking on John Cena and John Morrison. The unlikely duo of Morrison and Cena pick up the tag team victory. Mark Henry and Edge in one-on-one competition, and Edge didn't hesitate to start the fight here tonight as he ran in on Mark Henry, caught the world's strongest man off guard, and picked up the win. Sheamus and Ezekiel Jackson taking on Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu. Sheamus met the contender to his United States title in the ring, but the powerhouse team of Sheamus and Ezekiel Jackson was too much for Tatsu and Bourne to overcome. Main event time, David Hart Smith versus Batista in a no DQ match. Batista looked to gain an early advantage, but Smith was ready and did not make it easy for the animal. It was a brutal no DQ match, but when the dust had settled, Batista had gotten the better of the Royal Rumble winner, and whether or not D.H. Smith was worthy to compete in the main event was now in question. Over on SmackDown, we see Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler get the convincing victory over Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston as they near the Elimination Chamber. Vance Archer taking on Kane. In a battle of big men, it is Kane who comes out on top. Christian taking on Cody Rhodes. There's been a lot of tension between the Intercontinental Champion and the current #1 contender, and they finally had the chance to go after one another in the ring. While this was a non-title contest, it was a crucial meeting point between the two stars. However, we are without a definitive victor, as the match ended in a countout after the two insisted they take their fight outside. SmackDown's main event featured the first sight of the new World Heavyweight Champion, The Big Show, as he took on his #1 contender, the Dead Man, in a tables match. And you know, it'd be hard for anybody to win this match over the Phenom, considering this black magic he was pulling here. The Undertaker makes his statement 3 weeks before the pay-per-view. Kicking off Raw, we've got the Royal Rumble winner David Hart Smith taking on the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Smith is determined to prove himself as a legitimate singles competitor in this one-on-one contest, and he does so by picking up a crucial victory. Sheamus versus Evan Bourne. These two rivals have finally collided in a one-on-one contest on Monday Night Raw. The power of Sheamus, the United States champion, was on full display, as was Evan Bourne's resiliency and quickness. In this competitive match, we saw the United States champion emerge victorious, although victory wasn't enough for Sheamus as he attacked Bourne with a chair post-match. Melina and Gail Kim met for a #1 contenders match to take on Alicia Fox. Gail Kim secures the victory and earns a title shot at the pay-per-view. Main event time. Triple threat. Batista, Edge, and Shawn Michaels. This match was spontaneously changed to a Falls Count Anywhere triple threat, and it was originally held by these veterans to determine the true #1 contender in place of David Hart Smith. As you may expect, the three of these guys would put on quite the show, and it was the showstopper who came out on top, giving the Heartbreak Kid a great case as #1 contender. It's time for SmackDown. Rey Mysterio taking on Dolph Ziggler. Jack Swagger came to the ring in support of Dolph Ziggler just before the match began, which seemed to shake Rey Mysterio up a bit, as evidenced by Dolph Ziggler's hot start. However, Rey didn't back down, and he never makes things easy for anyone. The fight continued on until Dolph Ziggler forced Rey to tap out from a sleeper hold. Christian and Kofi Kingston taking on Cody Rhodes and Vance Archer in this next match. Christian and his top contender Cody Rhodes find themselves sharing the ring yet again, this time in a tag match. There were other factors at play, but these two had a clear focus of getting after one another. Cody and Vance Archer tried to pull whatever they could to gain an advantage. Ultimately, Christian and Kofi put on a show. Next matchup, triple threat. Kane, Drew McIntyre, and Jack Swagger. This was a clash of powerful superstars all looking to launch themselves further amongst the ranks. Jack Swagger has an impressive resume, Drew McIntyre is a young but promising talent, and Kane is just a fucking menace who hurts people, but also cunning as shown by his victory here. Main event time on SmackDown, The Undertaker versus CM Punk of all people. The Undertaker was not expecting CM Punk as his opponent, as Punk had not been seen for some time, but The Undertaker is a savvy veteran who can adjust on the fly. CM Punk is not your average competitor though, and the straight-edge superstar did not hesitate to come at the Dead Man with intensity. With the moral support of the champion at his side, CM Punk shocked the crowd and defeated The Undertaker in one-on-one contest. The following Monday Night Raw, we see John Cena and John Morrison pick up a huge tag team victory over the champions. Next matchup, Sheamus versus William Regal, and here the United States champion shows up in a dominating fashion. David Hart Smith taking on Shawn Michaels. David Hart Smith is looking to prove his main event status by taking on the Heartbreak Kid in singles competition. Defeating the showstopper is no easy feat for anybody, so a victory here would do wonders in Smith's pursuit of respect. The son of the British Bulldog went toe-to-toe with one of the best to ever do it, and even though things weren't always looking great for him here, Smith was able to come away with the upset victory. Batista took issue with this and came out to confront Smith. However, that was when the WWE champion Triple H made his appearance for the Raw main event. David Hart Smith decided to stay ringside for this one-on-one contest between the game and the animal, giving him a closer look at the man who has been criticizing him for weeks, as well as the champion in which he may be challenging come WrestleMania. Batista and Triple H know each other very well, and if Batista can get a clean victory over the champion, that may launch him into the WWE title picture regardless of who won the Royal Rumble. This was a brutal contest that certainly lived up to the expectations these two have established for themselves, and this clash finally came to an end after Batista defeated the game. The final SmackDown before the Elimination Chamber opens up with a triple threat to determine the next challenger for the Intercontinental title after the Elimination Chambers clash between Cody Rhodes and Christian. Shelton Benjamin, Kofi Kingston, and Matt Hardy, 3 established talents all going after one another, though Cody Rhodes felt it was necessary to come out and get involved with the match, despite this having nothing to do with his title match. 30 minutes of chaos had passed, and Shelton Benjamin was eventually able to emerge victorious, but he was also disrespected by Matt Hardy post-match. Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler topple Crime Time in a tag team contest. Main event time, the Brothers of Destruction were reunited to take on the Straight Edge Society. CM Punk had picked up a shocking win over The Undertaker last week, and Big Show was looking to have more damage dealt to his opponent at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. The Straight Edge Society arrived focused, and they handled business as they isolated Kane and picked up the victory. It's time for the Elimination Chamber. To open up the show, the tag team titles were on the line in this interbranded match. Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger have been on a roll and have been a menace on SmackDown as of late, and Jericho and The Miz have held onto the titles for quite some time. Ziggler and Swagger took control early, but the champs were not going to roll over for them. Rey Mysterio's got a bone to pick with Ziggler and Swagger and decided to get involved here, but ultimately, new tag team champions were crowned after Ziggler and Swagger secured the victory. Gail Kim was able to end Alicia Fox's reign as Divas champion, and the Intercontinental title was on the line here as Cody Rhodes and Christian finally had free reign to let loose on one another to determine a definitive champion. These two have constantly been facing off in the ring, but for one reason or another a decisive victory is yet to come about between these two. However, that is going to change here. No disqualifications, no countouts, no excuses. Falls count anywhere. These two left it all in this arena as they both pushed themselves beyond their own breaking points. But there could only be one champion, and that champion emerged as Cody Rhodes, who had finally captured the Intercontinental title. Batista was set to clash with the Royal Rumble winner David Hart Smith, trapped in a steel cage. Batista still doesn't believe Smith deserves to headline WrestleMania, and with his back against the wall, David Hart Smith had no choice but to put his WrestleMania title match on the line to shut the animal up. Smith held nothing back, but Batista is not known as the animal for no reason. Batista ultimately ended up hitting the Batista bomb and had a clear path to victory, but miraculously, David Hart Smith sprung to life to pull Batista down to the canvas. Smith hit a big back suplex and got his ass out of that cage. What an upset. SmackDown's main event of the night, Big Show defends his World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat against the former champion The Undertaker and a conniving CM Punk. While the rematch between Big Show and The Undertaker was highly anticipated, the champ was not expecting to have to worry about CM Punk in this title match as well. All three superstars had moments where they could have captured the championship, and the match had taken its toll on everybody. In an extremely volatile situation, CM Punk walked away from the match as the World Heavyweight Champion. Tonight's main event is an Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship, where John Cena and Shawn Michaels start us off in this unforgiving contest. Brief alliances came and went, and it's all about survival in this match. Triple H has got the odds stacked against him, but this would not be the first time he defied the odds in an Elimination Chamber. Before long, all competitors were in the ring, and the number of participants would begin to fall. Triple H was eliminated, meaning we were guaranteed a new WWE Champion. After the smoke cleared, it was Edge to be the final man standing and the new WWE Champion. The entire landscape of the WWE has changed just a month before WrestleMania. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know what kind of situations you'd want to see ChatGPT book for next time. Thanks. The first Raw after the Elimination Chamber. Former tag team champions Miz and Chris Jericho set to face off to determine who is to blame for their loss at the Elimination Chamber. Chris Jericho, however, found an alternate entry path to Miz during Y2J's entrance and attacked him from behind. John Cena and John Morrison taking on MVP and Mark Henry. The duo of Cena and Morrison continue to pick up momentum after a hard-fought victory. The technical acumen of the United States champion Sheamus was put to the test in a submission match against Tyson Kidd, but ultimately, he was able to make Tyson Kidd submit. An embarrassed Batista on the heels of his loss to David Hart Smith at Elimination Chamber is still aiming to insert himself into the WrestleMania title picture. Batista challenged Triple H for the former champion's rematch clause, and Triple H accepted, and the battle ensued for the Raw main event. Triple H was able to emerge victorious, just adding more questions around the WWE Championship. Over on SmackDown, JTG challenged Vance Archer in a losing effort, and I'm not sure if John Cena knows John Morrison is still tagging with R-Truth, but the Raw duo came over to SmackDown to challenge the champs to a non-title table tag team match. Ziggler and Swagger are feeling good coming off their big victory at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and carrying plenty of momentum. This was an exciting table match that saw John Morrison get slammed through the table. leaving him to reconsider if R-Truth is the correct partner. The new Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes is set to go one-on-one against Matt Hardy, one of the competitors with their eyes on the Intercontinental Championship. However, Cody's able to handle business against a potential contender here. In the main event, the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk had plans of celebrating his pay-per-view victory this evening. However, Kane had a different idea. Kane quickly brought the fight to the new champion, but it wasn't long before CM Punk was able to regain control of the bout and end SmackDown with his hand raised in victory. The next Raw opens up with a triple threat. Evan Bourne has had issues with the United States Champion Sheamus for over a month, but his status as #1 contender for the US title is at stake in this match against Ezekiel Jackson and Zack Ryder, and he couldn't risk losing this opportunity. Bourne was flying around the ring, however Jackson and Ryder still got their offense in as well. When it was all said and done, it was Evan Bourne who was still able to call himself the #1 contender for Sheamus' US title. John Cena did not appreciate John Morrison tagging with R-Truth on SmackDown, so ChatGPT declared that Cena and R-Truth face off to determine who will be the sole partner of John Morrison moving forward. It was a heated back and forth contest, but from now on, John Morrison's only tag partner will be John Cena. The former tag champs Miz and Jericho are not done with one another, this time a tag team contest where the two have found new partners to fight alongside them. Jericho has recruited the sly William Regal and the Miz is teaming with the enigmatic Yoshitatsu. Jericho came away on top in their last encounter, but that was after taking a cheap shot on the Miz. However, in this encounter, it was the Miz and Yoshitatsu standing tall. A huge 6-man tag team match headlined the night. D-Generation X along with David Hart Smith taking on the team of the WWE Champion Edge, Randy Orton, and Batista. Batista had been rather unstable as of late due to his obsessive anger over David Hart Smith's Royal Rumble victory, and Edge is looking at two potential WrestleMania challengers in Triple H and David Hart Smith. It was Randy Orton, though, who provided a spark and hit a big RKO to give his team a huge victory to end the night. Over on SmackDown, Shelton Benjamin and Kofi Kingston engaged in a one-on-one contest to establish some footing in the Intercontinental title picture. After a hard-fought match, it was Kofi Kingston to come out on top and gain some attention as we approach WrestleMania. Kane and The Undertaker set their sights on the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk and his backup Luke Gallows once more, this time without Big Show. CM Punk has been on the winning side of most of his encounters recently, however the Straight Edge Society takes the loss here. The main event of SmackDown features two men who have had some bad blood between one another for some time, but had not had the proper opportunity to face one another in the ring. Rey Mysterio and Jack Swagger, both with main event aspirations, battle it out to end the night. Jack Swagger came out to the ring alone here, and that may have proved to be the difference maker as Rey was able to focus on just one opponent and gain the victory in this main event match. The final week before WrestleMania, John Morrison and John Cena gained tag team title contention after a victory over William Regal and Vladimir Kozlov. We've got two co-main events on this Raw, the first being Triple H taking on Batista in a submission match. The unhinged animal took charge and brought the fight to the game. Batista has a ton of volatile relationships in front of him, and the tensions with Triple H have risen to the point of this submission match. While the two have traded victories already, the animal was looking to redeem himself with a dominating victory, but it was Triple H who was able to turn the tables and gain the submission victory after all. And to end the night, heading into WrestleMania, the Viper scored the pin in last week's 6-man tag team match, and David Hart Smith still finds himself not being taken seriously. Smith has absolutely been on his game as of late, and is making his case as a main eventer with a victory over Randy Orton. On SmackDown, we've got Shelton Benjamin inserting himself into WrestleMania with a victory over Drew McIntyre. Up next, the former Intercontinental Champion Christian will have to take on Dolph Ziggler, who has been racking up serious momentum the last 6 weeks. While the tag team champion put on a good show, it was Christian who had his hand raised in victory. A frustrated Straight Edge Society wasted no time in bringing the fight in this tag team match. They were all over MVP and Mark Henry until an interruption to the match occurred from which we can only guess who was responsible. Regardless, Punk and Gallows came away with the victory. And in the main event, Jack Swagger, Big Show, and The Undertaker compete in a triple threat match confined within a steel cage to determine who will challenge CM Punk at WrestleMania. All three men have had considerable pushes throughout the year, including multiple world title reigns, but there could only be one winner here. After all of the chaos, The Undertaker was able to overcome the challenge and walk away from the steel cage and into a WrestleMania title match. We have made it all the way to WrestleMania. A huge match card is in store for this evening. To open up, we've got Evan Bourne and Sheamus for the US title. Sheamus aims to continue his dominant reign as United States Champion, while Evan Bourne aims to end Sheamus's bully-like run on Raw. There hasn't been anyone who has been able to step up to Sheamus yet, and after another dominating victory, it seems that will continue for the foreseeable future. John Cena and John Morrison challenged Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger for the Tag Team Championships. It was a monumental clash featuring 4 talented superstars, but in the end, Big Match John and Big Match John were able to walk away with the victory, crowning new Tag Team Champions. Gail Kim defends her Divas Championship against Melina. ChatGPT didn't feature the ladies a whole lot on this road to WrestleMania, but that didn't stop Gail Kim and Melina from putting on a great match at this showcase of Immortals. In the end, it was Melina with her hand raised in victory. Cody Rhodes defends his Intercontinental title in a Falls Count Anywhere elimination fatal 4-way against 3 former Intercontinental champions in Christian, Kofi Kingston, and Shelton Benjamin. Cody Rhodes was facing a tall task for his first title defense, as this match was fast-paced, full of action, and even saw an angry Kane get involved. He just wanted to be included in WrestleMania, poor guy. But I digress. There was a ton of unpredictability in this match, especially with that 5th element dealing out choke slams. Shelton Benjamin would be the first eliminated, and the dominoes began to fall afterwards. Cody would pin Christian, leaving it down to Kofi and Cody. After a long battle, Kofi Kingston was the one to call himself the new Intercontinental Champion. Batista, Triple H in a last man standing match. It was decided by ChatGPT to make the WrestleMania main event a singles match, so that leaves a furious Batista out of the title picture. Batista challenged Triple H to this last man standing match to determine who will get the first shot at the champion after WrestleMania. Triple H accepted the challenge, and this match was made. Batista and Triple H came at one another like 2 bulls seeing red. Motivated by greatness and propelled by rage, Batista and Triple H had to take advantage of the spotlight that is WrestleMania. Triple H left Batista a bloody mess as he was able to keep him down for the 10 count, and the AI in this game certainly does not like using finishers to actually finish a match. Unfortunate. The World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, puts his championship on the line against the Dead Man. The Undertaker is defending his perfect WrestleMania record, so something has got to give. Neither man was willing to give up easily. The Undertaker seemed to be taking control of the matchup when he was able to hit old school, but CM Punk knew what was coming next and would be ready. Punk was able to regain control of the match, hitting the Phenom with his signature running bulldog, which led to Taker eating a GTS, and it looks like the streak will end. But Taker pushes through, refusing to die, continuing to fight back and finally hitting the Tombstone Piledriver to once again become the World Heavyweight Champion and keep his streak intact. The main event of WrestleMania, David Hart, Smith, and Edge. Who'da thunk it?
Not me.
Royal Rumble winner and the WWE Champion. A classic tale of the pursuit of championship glory. But for David Hart Smith, this journey has been a pursuit of respect amongst the main event stars as well. David Hart Smith has battled against the likes of Batista, Shawn Michaels, and Randy Orton to prove himself as a justified opponent. But Edge is one of the greatest to ever do it, and he doesn't give a damn about the feel-good story going on. Edge hit the spear and had his WWE title wrapped up, or so he thought. David Hart Smith had fought too hard to get to this point to give up that easy. There was a fire within Smith that was ignited in this moment. With a sudden burst of momentum, he hits a huge power slam, and he just might do this thing. However, Edge kicks out. This ain't his first rodeo. The stakes are high, but Edge finally gets some separation and hits another spear. This time, Smith can't kick out. The feel-good story falls short, and David Hart Smith cannot realize his dream. Edge is still champion, and that's how ChatGPT's WrestleMania 26 ends. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy. To open up Backlash, Shelton Benjamin has emerged as the challenger to Kofi Kingston's Intercontinental Championship, and we're set with 2 veterans of the ring clashing with one another to prove who is the rightful champion. Both men brought everything they had, and left any ounce of quit in the locker room. After a physical contest, Shelton Benjamin became the new Intercontinental Champion. Sheamus has been on a path of destruction ever since becoming United States Champion, and one of his toughest challenges yet may be his smallest, Rey Mysterio. The former world champion is determined to be the one to dethrone Sheamus, and that is a task much easier said than done, as Sheamus takes care of business and secures his championship. The Miz has managed to find himself back in the tag team title picture, and this time he's got the backing of the Big Show. The former world champion Big Show displayed his raw power and dominance that not even the Big Match Johns could go toe-to-toe with. However, it was going to take more than a few slams to put away these tag team champions. Cena and Morrison fought back, and in the end, it was John Cena delivering the FU to the Miz to retain the tag team titles. Triple H's victory at WrestleMania and Randy Orton's exclusion from the card card caused this old rivalry to resurface when Randy Orton decided to make it his mission to take out the game, refusing to be overshadowed by anyone. The devious Randy Orton would attack Triple H before the match even had the chance to start. Triple H tried to fight back, but multiple RKOs had done the damage to keep the game down. Our next match, the WWE Championship, is on the line. Edge had shut the book on the story of David Hart Smith, but as champion, the next man is always waiting for his chance. Christian would make the jump from SmackDown to Raw and challenge his old friend to a championship match. Christian disapproves of Edge's actions as of late and is determined to prove himself worthy of the gold. Christian would deliver an inspiring performance that makes you think maybe he really does deserve to be in the main event, but Edge has been on top of his game and was prepared for a fight. This was a great match, but Edge would ultimately hang on to the greatest prize in the business. The only WrestleMania rematch on this Backlash card is between the Deadman and the Straight Edge Superstar. While CM Punk couldn't get it done at WrestleMania, he is determined to regain the championship he held just over a month ago, and his defeat has only motivated him further. The Deadman, however, stands firm in his resolve to defend his championship against all challengers. Regret begins to set in for CM Punk, but he's come too far to fall back down to the bottom of the pecking order. These two put on another great match, where CM Punk was ultimately able to hit the GTS on the Phenom and reclaim the World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H addresses his loss at Backlash, expressing frustration and promising to get even before Chris Jericho interrupts, stating he deserves a shot to get noticed. This leads to a tense confrontation between the two. The team of Yoshitatsu and Evan Bourne defeat Mark Henry and MVP in tag team action. David Hart Smith takes on Rey Mysterio in Rey's first match back on Raw, with the presence of the Animal ringside. DH Smith couldn't complete his story at WrestleMania, and with enough doubters as it is, Smith is really going to have to grind to get himself back in the title picture. With a victory over the former world champion and an exciting contest, DH Smith is headed in the right direction. In the Raw main event, Sheamus holds an open challenge for the United States title, and it is answered by SmackDown's resident Big Red Machine. This was an extremely physical match between two bruising competitors. When the dust had settled, Sheamus found himself victorious once again. Over on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre makes light work of Chavo Guerrero in the opening match, and later states that he is coming for championship glory. Following their loss at the pay-per-view and failing to capture the tag team titles, the team of Showmiz would pick up a victory over Crime Time, which would keep their names in the title picture. CM Punk is addressing the WWE Universe, celebrating his recent victory over The Undertaker to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. However, his celebration is interrupted by The Undertaker's eerie gong, hinting at unresolved issues between the two. The main event of SmackDown features Cody Rhodes challenging for the Intercontinental Championship against the gold standard, Shelton Benjamin. Cody Rhodes is a former champion who feels he never got his proper rematch after losing at WrestleMania. Shelton Benjamin is determined to add some prestige back to the title, and didn't hesitate to accept the challenge. In an exciting contest, a victorious Shelton Benjamin was able to further frustrate an already irate Cody Rhodes. To open up Monday Night Raw, Christian addresses the WWE Universe, reflecting on his recent loss to Edge at the pay-per-view. He expresses his determination to bounce back and regain momentum. Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu have been working hard to move their way up the tag team ranks. A big opportunity presents itself as Evan Bourne is squaring off one-on-one against one half of the tag team champions. With a victory here, Bourne and Tatsu would definitely have the champ's attention. John Morrison kept fighting, but Evan Bourne was able to get the huge singles victory. Tag team action in the next match, DH Smith and Rey Mysterio taking on Batista and Tyson Kidd. This is a battle between two pairs of former friends. Smith and Kidd had been separated as a tag team for some time, and Batista is disgusted that Rey would be willing to team with David Hart Smith. Nobody is going to go down easily in a personal match like this, and these two teams threw just about all they had at each other. In the end, Rey Mysterio would hit a 619 on Tyson Kidd to secure the victory. Chris Jericho joins commentary at ringside for the main event, where Triple H faces off against Randy Orton in a highly anticipated rematch from Backlash. Both of these men deem it their destiny to be the WWE Champion. This time, however, there is no definitive winner and the match ends in chaos as Chris Jericho interferes, attacking both Triple H and Orton, leaving both men down to end the show. Kane takes on Vance Archer to open up the next SmackDown. This is not the first time these two have gone after one another. Kane is looking to regain that monster aura of his, while Vance Archer is looking to make a name for himself here on SmackDown. It was intense, but Vance Archer was the one to walk away from the contest victorious. The next match featured the Intercontinental Champion and the Women's Champion, a mixed tag team match between Shelton Benjamin and Mickie James taking on Cody Rhodes and Women's Champion Michelle McCool. This was a unique clash between champions and contenders. Neither team was willing to give an inch. However, there was a team that was going home on the losing end, and that team was Cody Rhodes and Michelle McCool after the gold standard delivered a super kick that would end the match. The main event of SmackDown has The Miz squaring off against Jack Swagger. Both of these men have backup in their corner, although their managers would quickly get tossed out by the ref, leaving this one mano a mano. Both men are trying to get the leg up and earn an opportunity to compete for the World Championship, so they laid it all on the line in this one. Eventually, something had to give, and The Miz was able to get the pin despite needing the support of the ropes. In a shocking scene, The Undertaker was found unconscious backstage. This would end the show with a ton of questions. The following week on Raw opens up with the WWE Champion Edge gloating about his victory over Christian at Backlash. Christian would interrupt and challenge Edge for a rematch, though it was announced the main event would determine the #1 contender for Extreme Rules. D.H. Smith would be excluded from this big main event, showing that he still has work to do to establish his name and reclaim his spot as contender for the WWE title. Thus, he would take on Ted DiBiase Jr. in singles competition, and he would get the victory. After the match, Smith extended a sign of respect, though it was rejected. Sheamus defends his United States Championship against a formidable opponent in Mark Henry. The main event of Raw held a huge battle royal to determine the next contender to face Edge at Extreme Rules for the WWE Championship. Former world champions littered the ring, and with all of this star power in one place, anything could happen and anyone could emerge victorious through all of the chaos. This was an extremely eventful battle royal where already tense relationships had worsened. When it came down to the end, it was Randy Orton who was able to eliminate Batista to give himself the world title opportunity at Extreme Rules. Over on Friday Night SmackDown, we've got Drew McIntyre taking on Matt Hardy in a vicious Falls Count Anywhere match. Drew is determined to make a name for himself, and Matt Hardy is a savvy veteran who isn't going to back down from anyone. McIntyre seemed to have control when an angry Kane entered the match, behavior we've seen before. Kane went after Drew McIntyre, and Matt Hardy decided to take advantage and get the cover for the win in a surprising sequence of events. The teams of Sheamus and Swagger and Ziggler will clash to determine who has got the leg up in the tag title contention ladder. We just saw a singles bout between Swagger and Miz last week, so these teams are very familiar with one another. Swagger and Ziggler were eventually able to isolate The Miz and seem to have taken control. However, The Miz was able to tag in his giant ally, and Big Show absolutely took over from that point. Unleashing pain, Big Show was able to cap off the victory for his team. To end the night, CM Punk issued an open challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, feeling rather confident. This is an interesting decision given what happened to The Undertaker last week. To answer the challenge, it was an angry Kane, someone we've already seen this evening. It was not hard to see this was not the same Kane we've seen the past few weeks taking losses. This time he is focused, fueled with rage. So much so he intentionally disqualified himself, making it seem that it wasn't about the championship in this match, but inflicting pain. Is Kane seeking vengeance for The Undertaker? Does he think the Straight Edge Society is responsible? Or has he just become fed up with the losses? Monday Night Raw opens up with Randy Orton cutting a promo regarding his newly earned WWE title match this Sunday. He is then interrupted by both Triple H and Chris Jericho. As the three engage in a heated confrontation, it's announced that Orton will put up his #1 contendership against Christian later tonight. To kick off the in-ring competition, Rey Mysterio is set to take on R-Truth in a one-on-one contest. After an exciting bout, Rey is able to hit the 619 and achieve victory. However, Batista crashes the party and attacks his former friend, claiming that Rey has become soft and undeserving of any spotlight. The next match has David Hart Smith once again in the ring to prove he can hang in the main event scene. Our boy has got to take on one half of the tag team champions, John Cena. This is a huge opportunity and a blockbuster match for Smith, and he wasn't going to take this lightly. Smith was on his game and definitely seemed ready for the big time here against a more than worthy opponent. Despite a valiant effort, Smith comes up short against Big Match John, but earns his respect for a hard-hitting performance. The main event of Raw has got major implications on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. If Randy Orton loses here, he loses his #1 contendership he earned the week prior. Christian has been determined to earn a rematch against Edge, and has been gifted an opportunity here to regain that spot. Both Triple H and Chris Jericho made their presence known throughout the match periodically as Triple H joined as a manager and Chris Jericho even hopped onto commentary mid-match. With these shenanigans at play, Christian was able to score a huge victory here and confirm his date with Edge for the WWE title. SmackDown opens up with Kane declaring vengeance upon whoever attacked The Undertaker 2 weeks ago and vows not only to find out who did it, but to send them to hell. Shelton Benjamin prepared for his Intercontinental title defense in 2 days with a match against the sly Chavo Guerrero, who pulled out all the stops possible. While it may not be wise to compete 2 days before defending his title, the Gold Standard gets the win here despite Chavo's underhanded tactics. CM Punk and Luke Gallows make it to the ring and claim their innocence in The Undertaker situation, and claim that after Kane's attack, they are probably more of a victim than The Undertaker at this point. Kofi Kingston takes on The Miz in the next contest. While this match would typically be fairly competitive, The Miz is not rolling alone. Even though this is slated as a one-on-one match, The Miz and Big Show hardly treat it as such. Ultimately, Kofi cannot overcome the number disadvantage, and The Miz picks up the victory, seeming as though he feels immortal. Kane meets Drew McIntyre in a no DQ match to cap off the night heading into the pay-per-view. Drew McIntyre is looking for some revenge after Kane sabotaged his match last week and made him look like a fool. Normally, McIntyre would match up well against the Big Red Machine, but Kane is on another level and you can see the anger within him. Kane steamrolls the Chosen One, but is attacked shortly after by the Straight Edge Society, which certainly does not play into their innocence. Opening up Extreme Rules, Mickie James challenges Michelle McCool for the Women's Championship. Mickie and Michelle have been at odds with one another, and somebody's going home as a definitive champion. While both ladies have justifiable claim to their championship stake, there can only be one. These two knew that, and were prepared to leave it all on the line for the glory that comes with being champion. While Mickie James is something of a legend in her own right, this was Michelle McCool's night, and she will go home still the women's champ. Shelton Benjamin has been carrying a lot of momentum as of late, and Cody Rhodes aimed to deplete that momentum by attacking Benjamin before the match had started. With this being a ladder match for the title, I'm not sure how it'll get suspended above the ring, but I guess that is inconsequential in determining who will be the Intercontinental Champion. Shelton Benjamin refused to allow Cody Rhodes to steal a cheap victory and came at the young superstar with intensity. But Cody Rhodes has been champion before, and he's looking to reclaim the title, but maybe more importantly, the notoriety. In an exciting ladder match, Shelton Benjamin arguably outperforms Cody Rhodes, but the cunning and opportunistic star would become the new Intercontinental Champion. Huge tag team contest upon us here where two massive teams go at it in an attempt to be recognized as the top tag team in the WWE. The rules here are simple: slam your opponent through a table and go home as champion. These are two top tier teams already, and the fact that they've had underlying issues in the past adds another layer to this match. There were multiple close calls in this match and neither team was willing to give an inch, though in the end the team of Show Miz was able to successfully end the match in their favor, crowning new tag team champions. Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and Triple H square off in a brutal Falls Count Anywhere triple threat. This monumental triple threat consisted of 3 former world champions and bore no restrictions or rules. Anything goes in this chaotic encounter, and each competitor has good reason to give everything they've got into re-establishing themselves as a rightful contender to the WWE Championship. There was no physical expense spared when it came to these 3 future Hall of Famers, and when the smoke had cleared, Triple H was the one to raise his hand in victory. In the SmackDown main event, CM Punk is faced with the daunting task of defending his World Championship against Kane whilst trapped in a steel cage. Kane has been on a tear as of late, causing as much destruction as possible and looking to avenge The Undertaker, and CM Punk and the Straight Edge Society are looking like prime suspects. Kane is menacing enough as is, but when you turn him into an emotionally charged monster, bad things are bound to happen to anyone in his way. While Kane was absolutely bringing it to the Straight Edge superstar, CM Punk is the champ after all, and possesses the savvy and cunning to hang on with anybody in any situation. Despite the beating he had taken, he still managed to push through and fight back. In a surprising end, CM Punk was able to barely get his ass out of that cage through the door and squeak out a victory to hang on to the World Heavyweight Championship. To close out the show, ChatGPT truly booked a banger. Christian challenging Edge for the WWE Championship in a TLC match. In true Edge fashion, he wasted no time in gaining whatever hand up he could on his opponent, though Christian is determined to capture the championship gold, and it would be an even sweeter victory if he could pry it from his former tag team partner. This hectic TLC environment is nothing new to these superstars, as we're all aware of what these two mean to the history of this match. Regardless of who comes out the victor in this one, both men will be reeling from the effects of this match. But when it was all said and done, Edge was able to do just enough to retain the WWE Championship. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep this content coming. Thanks! To open the first Raw following the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, Chris Jericho takes on Evan Bourne, but Jericho doesn't give this match a chance after executing a sneak attack before the match gets going, and Jericho gets the quick dub. Sheamus holds an open challenge, which is answered by John Morrison coming fresh off a loss. The United States Champion has been a dominant force ever since becoming champion last year, though he has not had the pressure of competing against a big match John. A former tag team champion is looking to reclaim some gold. While Morrison certainly offered Sheamus more of a challenge than he had become accustomed to, Sheamus prevailed and came out on top. The main event of Monday Night Raw consists of 2 men who have not only faced before, but were excluded from the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Shawn Michaels and D.H. Smith were eager to prove that this was a mistake leaving them in catering over the weekend. D.H. Smith has yet to prove his doubters wrong and is still determined to become world champion, but Shawn Michaels has got something to prove not only to his peers but to himself, to prove that he is still the showstopper. David Hart Smith hit a huge power slam followed by an explosive T-bone suplex, but Batista came down to the ring with a plan to interrupt the match. However, Rey Mysterio, who now has issues with the animal, came to neutralize the threat to the main event. It was an exciting, competitive match, but D.H. Smith emerged victorious here. SmackDown opens up with Kane taking on Dolph Ziggler in singles competition. Kane is still fuming over the events that occurred in the steel cage match nearly a week ago, and is aiming to take out those frustrations on the former tag team champion. Kane was doing damage here and was looking to wrap things up, but the interference by Drew McIntyre would cause this match to end early. The Miz and Big Show are gloating backstage, praising themselves and challenging any teams that want to step forward. Kelly goes one-on-one with Mickie James next, and Mickie James is looking to regain positioning in the women's ranks. Mickie James is aggressive and relentless with her offense, and picks up the win in singles competition here. The main event of SmackDown, CM Punk sends his boy Luke Gallows to battle for him against Shelton Benjamin, who is looking to redeem himself following his pay-per-view loss. This was a clash of contrasting styles, but ultimately Shelton Benjamin picked up the victory and is able to maintain some relevance despite being without the Intercontinental Championship. Randy Orton takes on his former protege Ted DiBiase Jr. to kick off the next episode of Monday Night Raw. Orton has been determined to get back on top and handles business in this one. David Hart Smith addresses the WWE Universe, expressing his determination to continue his pursuit of the WWE Championship and overcome any obstacles on his path to glory. William Regal, R-Truth, and Chris Jericho clash to determine who will earn the right to call themselves #1 contender for the United States Championship. Sheamus has been on a dominant streak as of late, so whoever gets the victory will need to come correct when the time is right. Jericho and Regal seem to enjoy taking turns beating on R-Truth, until Regal caught Jericho napping and picked up the victory and earned himself a title match. In the main event, the issues between Edge and Christian continue as a tag team match is held. Edge has Tyson Kidd backing him up, whereas Christian will be tagging with Rey Mysterio. Christian and Mysterio provided electrifying offense and fended off Tyson Kidd's most successful of maneuvers, and it was clear that Edge wanted no part of Christian with his deliberate tagging out. Christian was able to hit the kill switch on Tyson Kidd and secure the victory to end the night. To start off our Friday night, Jack Swagger found himself competing against Chavo Guerrero. Chavo never had a chance, and Swagger showed an aggressiveness we haven't seen from him recently as he cruised to a victory. In the following match, we've got Kofi Kingston taking his swing at the Intercontinental Champion, Cody Rhodes. The title is on the line, and you can believe that Shelton Benjamin will be keeping an eye on the results of this contest. Cody and Kofi are very familiar with one another, but didn't shy away from coming at each other and putting on an exciting match. Cody has been cooking as of late, and will continue to ride high, picking up the victory here. Kane headlines the main event tonight, as he is sure that The Undertaker's attacker is the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. Kane is teaming alongside Shelton Benjamin here to take on Luke Gallows and Drew McIntyre, who stepped up and volunteered to fight for Punk as McIntyre is looking to get his hands on Kane. This was a physical match, and ever since Kane has been seeking vengeance for The Undertaker, he has been performing on a different level. McIntyre and Gallows did what they could, but the duo of Kane and Shelton Benjamin took the victory to close out the show. To open up Raw, Sheamus continues his dominance with a victory over Zack Ryder. We've got a huge clash on our hands in the next match. Batista has been a catalyst of catastrophe in the recent months, and he's got issues with most guys on the roster. But here, Batista is caught between Rey Mysterio and David Hart Smith in a triple threat match. With serious championship implications on the line, this was a crucial match for every competitor involved. After a hard-fought battle, David Hart Smith came out as the winner. Main eventing the night, Edge defends his WWE Championship against John Cena. While it's a bit of a random match, Cena is a formidable competitor, and a match between he and Edge for the WWE title is not something that typically disappoints. Cena had fought hard, but Edge prevailed and remained champion. After the match, Triple H confronts Edge at the stage and claims he deserves a title match not only for his victory at Extreme Rules, but at WrestleMania as well. Shelton Benjamin taking on Vance Archer to open up Friday Night SmackDown. Archer is an ally of the Intercontinental Champion, and Shelton Benjamin is the #1 contender to the title, so if Archer can do some damage to Benjamin here, he would be doing his friend a favor. However, Benjamin came to handle business, and secured the victory after hitting a T-bone suplex. Benjamin's actions seem to have been bringing outside attention as well. Tag Team Champions Miz and Big Show take on Matt Hardy and Kofi Kingston in a non-title matchup. The team of Show Miz continue to roll on as they pick up the victory here. Kane and Drew McIntyre were found brawling backstage, where Kane walked away with the upper hand. The final match of the evening will put the World Heavyweight Champion in action. No substitutes, going one-on-one with Jack Swagger. Swagger has been lurking back around the singles division and is looking to make a big splash with a victory over the champ. Swagger turned in a good showing, but the champion was able to make a statement after hitting the GTS and taking home the victory to end the show. The final Raw before the next pay-per-view. William Regal goes one-on-one with Evan Bourne. Regal would go on to solidify his status as #1 contender to Sheamus' United States title with a victory. The Big Match Johns have requested their rematch for the tag team titles against the SmackDown duo of Sheamus. These two competed just days ago, but they are tasked with a big challenge here. These are two very talented tag teams, and it could go either way, but in the end it was the champions who were able to get the edge on the Big Match Johns. The main event features more tag team action, this time a 6-man tag team match. Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, and David Hart Smith round out one team, whereas Chris Jericho, Randy Orton, and Batista form the second. This was a big-time matchup between potential contenders who are all looking to stand out amongst the pack. In the end, it was David Hart Smith and his team to handle business and get the victory walking into the Bash. Vance Archer, Matt Hardy, and Drew McIntyre compete in a triple threat to open up the final SmackDown before the Bash. This was a highly competitive match, but Drew McIntyre has been nearly unstoppable as of late and picks up the victory here. Beth Phoenix and Mickie James square off to determine the next #1 contender for the Women's Championship, and the champion is even present for this one. One of these ladies will have the chance to once again become champion in the very near future. Beth and Mickie laid it all out on the line, but in the end it was Beth Phoenix to come out on top. Kane vs. Luke Gallows is our match to main event SmackDown before we dive into the pay-per-view. As of now, there is no formal challenger to step to CM Punk at the Bash. If Kane can pick up a victory here, there may be no choice but to give the Big Red Machine another chance at the world title. Kane was cruising and looking to seal the match with a chokeslam until The Miz and Big Show would interfere, giving Kane the victory by DQ. While this victory would technically award Kane with the title opportunity, The Miz would overshadow this fact with a harrowing confession. He is the mastermind behind the attack on The Undertaker. The Miz claimed he and Big Show eliminated The Undertaker to carve a path for their dominance, and that they are just getting started before the show fades to black. Our next pay-per-view opens up with the Intercontinental title on the line in another match between Cody Rhodes and Shelton Benjamin. This intense feud last saw Cody Rhodes dethroning Shelton Benjamin as the champ, and Benjamin is invoking his rematch clause to challenge Rhodes for the title on a bigger stage. These two are no strangers to one another, leading to an exciting clash that wasn't going to be easy for either of them. And after a competitive match, it was Shelton Benjamin regaining the Intercontinental Championship yet again. In the next contest, the dominant United States champion Sheamus puts his title on the line against the tactical William Regal, who had scratched and clawed his way into contention. These two went tit for tat throughout this match, refusing to be outdone by the other. William Regal had a counter for just about every hold Sheamus attempted, and this would greatly frustrate the champion. Maybe he's finally met his match, though Sheamus is no slouch himself and made it incredibly difficult for Regal to get any offense of his own. Ultimately, Sheamus gained enough momentum to execute some high-impact moves and successfully retain the United States Championship. Batista and Rey Mysterio have been at odds since Batista's attitude had soured. Their paths have intertwined yet again, bringing us this steel cage match, in a battle between not just two former friends, but two former world champions as well. This was a personal contest with two contrasting styles, the power and ferocity of the animal going up against the finesse and agility that nobody possesses quite like Rey Mysterio. After an intense match with some seriously close calls, Rey's able to find a way to escape this encounter with his hand raised in victory. The bitter rivalry between Randy Orton and Chris Jericho reaches its boiling point as the superstars clash in a high-stakes no DQ match. These two have fallen short of the main event expectations they hold themselves to, and that frustration has spilled into a brutal contest. The intensity of Y2J and Orton's lack of empathy will keep these two from holding anything back in this attempt to re-establish their spots near the top of the card. It wasn't easy, but Chris Jericho is able to walk out of this match victorious. Last Friday, Kane earned a victory via DQ against Luke Gallows, which technically would have put him in a position to challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. However, due to The Miz's shocking confession that he was the one behind The Undertaker's attack, Kane opted to take this match against the A-lister. This is a Falls Count Anywhere contest, and The Miz may live to regret his decision to come clean. Kane was beating The Miz up and down the ring area, though The Miz was able to stay in the match long enough to capitalize on Kane's blind rage. With a little assistance from Drew McIntyre, The Miz hit a huge swinging neckbreaker off of a ladder and through a table to finish Kane. The main event of the evening, a WWE Championship match where Edge will defend against not just one, but with 2 challengers. Triple H couldn't wait for the opening bell and this match was underway. Christian and Triple H each have their reasons for being in this match. Christian chasing redemption of losing to his friend on 2 different occasions and now needing to prove himself, while Triple H is aiming to once again become champion that he felt was unjustly lost all of those months ago within the Elimination Chamber, and has had this right to a title match since WrestleMania. Edge has faced multiple challengers since becoming champion and intends to hang on to that indication for even longer. This was an exciting triple threat match where personal vendettas and championship aspirations collided in this intense showdown, and nobody was going to back down. However, only one could walk out of the arena as WWE champion, and it took everything he had, but Christian was able to come through with the shocking upset and is crowned the new WWE champion. Triple H is clearly unsatisfied, but that changes nothing. Christian is the new champion. Raw opens up with the new WWE Champion Christian speaking with the audience, vowing to defend the title with honor. Chris Jericho interrupts the championship celebration and reminds Christian that with his victory over Randy Orton, he has reason to be considered for a title shot. In the first match of the night, the Big Match Johns will take part in tag team action against the reuniting team of Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase. The match is intense, with tensions running high between Cena and Orton as their long-standing rivalry is flared up. Ultimately, Cena and Morrison take home the victory. David Hart Smith defeats Yoshitatsu in singles competition. After the match, Smith is confronted by Sheamus, who was busy gloating about his pay-per-view victory, taunting Smith that he is not worthy of a title shot or even a spot on the pay-per-view match card. In the main event, Triple H challenged Chris Jericho to determine the true #1 contender, with hopes of leaving any speculation to rest. After an intense contest, Chris Jericho was able to pull one over on the game. Michelle McCool puts her women's championship on the line against Beth Phoenix to open up the next SmackDown. Phoenix earned this title match weeks ago and is finally getting her shot at holding glory once more. This match has caught the eye of Mickie James, but there will be no shenanigans in this title match. These two turned in a highly competitive match that in the end saw Beth Phoenix as the new women's champion. Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger go to battle against the makeshift team of Kofi Kingston and JTG. While Kingston and JTG do not tag regularly, they seem to have enough chemistry to give the former tag champs a run for their money. The match showcases the athleticism and competitive spirit of all 4 superstars, and ultimately we would see the team of Ziggler and Swagger walk away victorious. It's time for SmackDown's main event. The Miz will go head-to-head against the new Intercontinental Champion, Shelton Benjamin. The Miz, still reveling in his victory over Kane at the pay-per-view, looks to continue his momentum as he sets his sight on the World Championship. This will be much easier said than done with the gold standard standing in front of him. The Miz has been on a roll lately, but so has his adversary, and a victory for Shelton here could give him the opportunity to become a double champion. However, when the smoke cleared, it was The Miz standing tall. Opening up the next episode of Monday Night Raw, David Hart Smith defeated William Regal in an attempt to earn the chance to face Sheamus to end his reign of dominance. Christian announces an open challenge to anyone who thinks they can step to the new champion, inviting whoever is confident enough in themselves. This gesture creates a buzz amongst the locker room and garners interest from various superstars. Gail Kim successfully defended her Divas Championship against Brie Bella. The final match of the night would be Randy Orton taking on John Cena. The personal animosity that was seemingly dormant between the two was resurrected last week after a tag team match the two were involved in, and Orton is determined to prove the loss was due to DiBiase Jr. These two would give it everything they had to prove who was the better superstar, but in the end it would be the Viper walking away the victor. Kicking off SmackDown, Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin will be facing against a familiar foe, Vance Archer. Benjamin looks to prove himself as a fighting champion by overcoming the challenge, while Archer is hoping to improve his own positioning on the card. This was a hard-hitting match where Shelton Benjamin would secure the victory. In our next contest, Kane and Mike Knox challenged The Big Show and Drew McIntyre. Kane is still irate after the events that had transpired with The Miz, and is not done with him or his boy The Big Show. McIntyre still has Kane in his sights though, so Kane is in need of backup. In a physical contest, the team of Kane and Mike Knox take home the victory. Main eventing the night will be a #1 contenders match to determine who will challenge CM Punk at Night of Champions. The Miz is set to go one-on-one with the All-American American, Jack Swagger. Both men have clear championship aspirations, but only one can move on and carry the hope of crowning a new champion at the pay-per-view. Dolph Ziggler had Jack Swagger's back, but it was The Miz who managed to get away with the victory here. Next week on Raw, Sheamus opens up the show with a dominant victory over Zack Ryder. Mark Henry is set to go one-on-one against the Viper Randy Orton. Orton has been determined to get back into the WWE title hunt and just last week picked up a big victory in the main event. Orton continues to look like a top-tier superstar while picking up another victory here. Main event time. Steel cage match between Edge and Batista. two men who have intentions of challenging Christian for the WWE title in his open challenge he's issued. Both of these guys will do whatever it takes to get their name back in the champion's circle. While Batista's efforts centered around his brute force, Edge's sly offense was able to score him a pin opportunity as he came up big and picked up the victory. Over on SmackDown, Chavo Guerrero is challenging Shelton Benjamin. While this is a non-title match, Guerrero is determined to get his name in the title picture and will do whatever it takes to get there. However, it is the Gold Standard who will walk out of this one victorious. The Miz enters the ring and challenges any superstar who is brave enough to step up. Matt Hardy would fearlessly answer this challenge, but Miz would quickly reveal his challenge was for a handicap match and Hardy would take a tough loss. The main event of SmackDown features Big Show pulling double duty as he takes on Kane trapped in a steel cage. The list of enemies Kane has is ever growing and becoming rather large, but the task at hand is the Big Show. In a physical encounter between two former tag team partners, it was Kane who came out on top. The final Raw before Night of Champions, this show opens up with a contract signing between Sheamus and David Hart Smith to make their United States title match official for Night of Champions. The two exchange heated words and sign the contract, setting the stage for their highly anticipated clash. R-Truth, Ezekiel Jackson, and Ted DiBiase face off in a triple threat that could potentially move the winner into the United States title picture after the pay-per-view. In an exciting match, Ted DiBiase Jr. was able to pick up the victory. Yoshitatsu and Evan Bourne take on the Big Match Johns for the right to challenge for the tag team titles at Night of Champions. The High Flyers have a tall task ahead of them, but they're not going to back down. The former champs took control early, but in a shocking upset, Evan Bourne is able to hit a shooting star press to score the victory. Randy Orton teams up with Rey Mysterio to take on the duo of Chris Jericho and Edge in a star-studded tag team match. The match is fast-paced with tensions running high between all four competitors. It is unclear who will be in the WWE title match in just a matter of days, so everyone here is looking to impress. D.H. Smith even comes down for a closer look, and Rey was able to get the hot tag to bring Randy Orton in, where he would shut things down, and the team of Rey and Randy Orton take home the victory on this Raw main event. The Miz and CM Punk have a final encounter before their clash at the pay-per-view. The encounter is tense, but does not end in any type of confrontation. Kane takes on JTG in a singles competition. JTG should have known he was walking into trouble, as Kane takes care of business rather handedly, but Drew McIntyre would crash Kane's party and attack him post-victory. Michelle McCool takes on Mickie James in a one-on-one contest. McCool is not happy about losing her women's championship and is determined to get it back. If Mickie James could score a victory here though, she may be able to insert herself into the title match in just 2 days. All in all, Mickie James was able to pick up the win, only furthering Michelle McCool's frustrations. In the main event, Shelton Benjamin teams up with Dolph Ziggler to take on the duo of Vance Archer and Cody Rhodes in a blockbuster tag team match. This match serves as a preview of the action to come at the upcoming pay-per-view, as Benjamin will be defending his championship against all three of these guys, and this tension makes for an interesting main event. Every one of these stars brings something unique to the match, but it is Shelton Benjamin and Dolph Ziggler who come out on top. To kick off Night of Champions, the Women's Championship is on the line in a triple threat match between Mickie James, Michelle McCool, and champion Beth Phoenix. Mickie just defeated McCool 2 nights ago, and Michelle is determined to turn things around and regain her championship. Beth Phoenix has not been beaten since becoming champion, so anything could go down here. In the end, Beth Phoenix was able to stand tall, still champion. The team of Show Miz are set to defend their tag team titles in what will be the first of 2 matches for The Miz this evening. The challengers Yoshitatsu and Evan Bourne have already racked up an upset against the Big Match Johns, but we'll have to see if they can pull off another. Big Show alone outweighs these two combined and dominates this match as the tag team champions coast their way to a successful defense. The Intercontinental title is on the line in this next match, a fatal 4-way consisting of Cody Rhodes, Vance Archer, and Dolph Ziggler all looking to take Shelton Benjamin's title away to call their own. Benjamin does not have to be pinned to lose his title, and not only that, but this is a Falls Count Anywhere match as well, creating a hectic and volatile environment. Every competitor had the desire to walk out as champion, but it would be Vance Archer to be the one who leaves the match with the privilege to call himself champion. David Hart Smith steps up to the plate to challenge the dominant Sheamus. The United States champion has beaten down every challenger that has stepped in his way, and is looking to continue that ferocity here tonight. David Hart Smith is determined to dethrone the champ, as well as finally prove to everyone that he is a legit contender for any singles title. This was an incredibly physical match, and Sheamus and Smith were unwilling to call it quits here. Both men delivered signature offense, but neither would give in and allow the 3 count. David Hart Smith just about had things wrapped up until Batista came and interrupted what could have been the winning pinfall. Sheamus would look to take advantage of the situation, but Smith wasn't giving up. Sensing his title reign was in danger, Sheamus would take the coward's way out and get himself intentionally disqualified, taking the loss, but hanging on to his championship in a surprising turn of events. The World Heavyweight Championship is on the line as we see the A-lister, The Miz, challenge CM Punk for the gold. Ever since coming to SmackDown, The Miz has been at the top of his game. While much of that could be attributed to the support of the Big Show at his side, it is undeniable that The Miz has been getting it done in the ring. CM Punk has been champion for much of this universe mode though, and is a formidable superstar carrying plenty of momentum in his own right. The confidence brought upon taking out The Undertaker has elevated The Miz to a state that is hard for anybody to keep up with, though CM Punk's relentless offense was diminishing that confidence bit by bit. In a huge main event for SmackDown, a new champion would be crowned as The Miz took his place as World Heavyweight Champion. And to cap off Night of Champions, Christian puts his WWE title on the line after his victory over Triple H and Edge in a triple threat match to capture the WWE Championship. Christian faces an even steeper challenge, a championship scramble against 4 other formidable competitors. Chris Jericho, Triple H, Edge, and Randy Orton are all vying to become champion once more. Christian and Randy Orton were the 2 to start the match, and tensions were high. Anything can happen in these championship scrambles, and that was evident here. Despite all of the chaos, nobody was able to register a single pinfall, meaning that by technicality it was Christian to come out of this match as the WWE Champion as we end the night. The first Raw following Night of Champions opens up with Randy Orton taking on Evan Bourne. While Orton was chasing the WWE title, he, like 4 others last night, came up short and now has found themselves on the outside looking in, figuring out how they can get back to the main event scene. For Orton, that starts here with a victory over Evan Bourne. David Hart Smith continues his quest for a WWE Championship match at SummerSlam as he takes on Primo in a singles match. However, Batista's looming presence adds an extra layer of tension to Smith's pursuit, but it does not stop Smith from taking the victory here. The main event of Raw will see the Big Match Johns take on the team of Edge and Chris Jericho. These are 2 teams looking to take the spotlight, and a victory here could help them do just that. Ultimately, Edge and Christian pick up a crucial main event victory. To open up SmackDown, Vance Archer is celebrating his new Intercontinental Championship before staying ringside to check out the following match between 2 potential contenders, Dolph Ziggler and Matt Hardy. These 2 put on an exciting match, but it would be Dolph Ziggler to come out on top. Beth Phoenix defends her Women's Championship against Natalya. These 2 may have a solid relationship outside of the ring, but they aren't going to allow that to get in the way of their championship glory. Beth Phoenix would be able to keep Natalya down for the 3 count as she successfully retained her title. The Miz and Big Show take on the Straight Edge Society. CM Punk is unhappy with his loss of the title at SummerSlam and is looking to gain some level of revenge on the new champion here. CM Punk had control of the match until an ominous interruption occurred, which maybe was just a cocky taunt from The Miz, as this afforded the champion an avenue to hit the skull-crushing finale and allow The Miz and Big Show to take home the victory. After the match, The Miz would stay in the ring after the Big Show had left so he could continue gloating about his new world title. To The Miz's surprise, The Undertaker would finally make his return. The dead man appeared out of nowhere to send The Miz to hell before Big Show could return. Monday Night Raw opens up with Chris Jericho taking on Rey Mysterio. No shenanigans in this one, just mano a mano. Both of these men have struggled to establish themselves in the WWE title picture, but that fight continues on in this match. After an exciting contest, Chris Jericho picks up the victory. A tag team battle containing 2 strange duos in the teams of Shawn Michaels and Zack Ryder clashing with Batista and Tyson Kidd. While these 2 teams do not have any history teaming together, both units put forth a solid effort to deliver an entertaining match. In the end, Batista would secure the victory for his team. In the main event, D.H. Smith would be going one-on-one with the Game, Triple H. This is an extremely tall task for Smith as he looks to prove himself against a formidable opponent and legitimize his claim to be a top contender for the WWE Championship. Triple H fell short at Night of Champions and is looking to recapture some momentum to place himself back at the top of the WWE title pecking order. Smith has got a big opportunity in front of him, and if scoring a clean pinfall victory over the Game wouldn't earn respect in the locker room, I don't know what will. It was an exciting contest, where D.H. Smith would continue his streak of fine performances, and this one would leave him victorious in a crucial match moving forward. To no surprise, Batista would take issue with Smith's success and attack the competitors after the final bell. Vance Archer defends his newly won Intercontinental Championship against the former champion Shelton Benjamin in a highly anticipated rematch. Benjamin looks to reclaim his title while Archer aims to prove that his victory was no fluke. Archer tried to pull a fast one on Benjamin, but the gold standard stuck around and gave the new champion a fight. After this tactic failed, Archer walked out on the match, leaving no decisive winner. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio travel over from Raw to challenge Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler in a tag team contest. This is a case of two talented teams looking to get themselves noticed, whether it be together or as singles competitors. One team will take a step forward while the other will remain stagnant. After an exciting match, it would be Orton and Mysterio, victorious once again. The Undertaker makes his return to SmackDown trapped inside a steel cage with The Miz's right-hand man, Big Show. The Undertaker has been out of action for months, thanks to the attack carried out by Show Miz. The Undertaker is intimidating as is, but now he's looking for vengeance, carrying rage that could strike fear into the largest of giants. The Undertaker looked dominant in this return, and would secure the victory after hitting a tombstone piledriver. The final Raw before SummerSlam opens up with Chris Jericho going one-on-one with John Morrison. Jericho and Edge have been taking aim at the tag team titles, and surpassing the former champions is a big step to calling themselves contenders. Morrison and Cena would like to place themselves back into the title picture, so nobody is giving an inch here. It was an exciting contest, but Jericho was able to handle business and get the victory. Sheamus issues an open challenge once again for the United States Championship, daring any competitor to step up and face him for the title. Evan Bourne answers the challenge, eager for an opportunity to dethrone the champion. Sheamus would lock up the victory, but after the match, Randy Orton would emerge and place a challenge to Sheamus for SummerSlam. Looking to regain some momentum after being taken to the limits at the last pay-per-view, David Hart Smith squares off against Batista in a brutal singles match with tensions reaching a boiling point. Both superstars are determined to come out on top and assert their dominance in the WWE Championship picture, but there could only be one. David Hart Smith has fought hard to get back in the title picture, but he's been shrouded in disappointment before. Batista sent Smith through a table and had his sights set on finishing this match. The Batista bomb had been delivered, and this one has got to be over. But not if David Hart Smith has anything to say about it. Smith continued to fight on, hitting a huge power slam and beating the odds as well as the animal. David Hart Smith is going to SummerSlam. To kick off the go-home show to SummerSlam, Vance Archer's Intercontinental Championship is on the line once again as he defends against former champion and former friend, Cody Rhodes. Rhodes was not pleased that Vance Archer was the one to win the title from Shelton Benjamin, and after faking support, Cody Rhodes' envy could no longer be masked as these two duke it out. Neither man was willing to back down, but Vance Archer's reign will continue after he picks up the big victory. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre meet in a no DQ match to determine who will challenge Vance Archer at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental title. McIntyre has looked impressive as of late, and Dolph is a talented singles competitor in his own right. It was an exciting match, but the interference by Kane would definitely aid Ziggler as he had no issue taking the easy pin to get the win here. After the match, Kane announced that he will be facing Drew McIntyre in an Inferno match. The Undertaker makes another appearance as he is set to take on CM Punk. While it's pretty obvious that The Miz deserves his comeuppance from the dead man, the Phenom must gain contention to square off with the champ at SummerSlam. In a WrestleMania rematch, a deadly focused Undertaker played no games with the fellow former world champion CM Punk and secured the victory as well as his chance at redemption on The Miz. The Miz begins his double duty as he and partner Big Show are set to defend their tag team championships against the team of Edge and Chris Jericho. The Miz and Big Show have been dominant since they became champions, but Jericho and Edge have been focused on using the tag titles to relaunch themselves into the main event scene. Both teams were looking to impress, but it was Edge and Jericho who were able to isolate Big Show and pick up the win. The Intercontinental Champion is on the line as Vance Archer is set to defend against not just Dolph Ziggler, but Shelton Benjamin as well. Archer has been a busy champion lately, as he's already defended the title twice after winning it just a few weeks ago. But if he wants to remain champion, he is going to have to rise to the occasion once more. Shelton Benjamin is looking for retribution as he lost his title in a multi-man match, and Dolph Ziggler is looking to step out of the tag team scene and into singles glory. Volatile variables and determined competitors made for an exciting match. All three competitors gave everything they had, and after the dust settled, it was Vance Archer walking away as the Intercontinental Champion. Vance Archer would also add an exclamation to his victory after attacking Benjamin post-match. Randy Orton is stepping up to challenge the dominant Sheamus for the United States Championship. So far, there hasn't been anyone who has been able to dethrone Sheamus from his title reign, and outside David Hart Smith, no one has even come close. But maybe the Viper can knock off the Celtic Warrior. That is a task much easier said than done though, as Sheamus is not ready to give up his championship to anybody. However, someone was walking out of this match as the loser. In an exciting contest, it would take not just one, but 2 RKOs so Randy Orton could finally unseat the dominant United States title run of Sheamus. The Inferno match makes its return to the WWE as Kane and Drew McIntyre aim to settle an extremely personal rivalry. This vendetta has evolved beyond championship glory, and the only resolution lies within the flames that surround the ring. Someone would be severely injured by the end of this match, but both men would be psychologically changed forever. Kane certainly feels at home in this one, but that guarantees nothing as Drew McIntyre has been quite the unstoppable force as of late. However, the Big Red Machine would introduce the Chosen One to hell as he would do what was necessary to collide McIntyre with the flames, ending the match in favor of the Devil's favorite demon. David Hart Smith has finally earned one more opportunity to do what his father, Davey Boy Smith, could never do: capture the WWE Championship. Current champion Christian is not going to make this dream an easily achievable reality though. Christian is determined to remain champion, and David Hart Smith has reached this point just to fall short before. So just because he's gotten here does not mean there will be a guaranteed triumph in store for the young superstar. Christian has truly earned the right to call himself the WWE Champion and has been on his game as of late. 2 forces propelled by their current momentum and desire to be champion collide to create an intense match. Christian seemed to be taking control of the contest, but simply could not hit the kill switch if his life depended on it. And David Hart Smith was eventually able to capitalize and hit a power slam, but it wasn't enough. Maybe it's not Smith's time after all. However, a big back suplex would allow Smith to finally realize the dream of not just he, but his entire family. David Hart Smith has finished the story and become WWE Champion. But that's not all. The main event of SummerSlam and the final match of this exercise will place The Undertaker into a Hell in a Cell match with the attacker that caused him to miss multiple months of time, The Miz, who has since become the World Heavyweight Champion. The gold is in fact on the line here, but that's not what The Undertaker is here for. The dead man came out of the gate firing on all cylinders, dominating his opponent and dead set on making the A-lister pay for his actions. The Miz would eventually find a way to implement some of his own offense into the match, but The Undertaker would take the lead of inflicting the long-awaited punishment on The Miz. There's a good chance The Undertaker could have ended this match early on, but his desire to do damage kept this match going. The Miz would somehow find momentum and start chopping away at the dead man, hitting signature offense and then a skull-crushing finale. The Miz went for the pin attempt, but it was no good. Another failed pin attempt and the frustration was really setting in for The Miz. The Miz then snapped, finding one more chair and just unloading on the Phenom. The champion would hit another skull-crushing finale, and surprisingly, The Miz goes over on The Undertaker on his own, trapped within Hell in a Cell. Edge and Chris Jericho kick off Monday Night Raw, celebrating their recent Tag Team Championship victory. They boast about their dominance as a team and issue an open challenge to any duo brave enough to face them for the title. The in-ring competition kicks off between 2 hungry competitors, Goldust and Ted DiBiase Jr., where Goldust picks up a victory and even attempts to show a sign of sportsmanship, though it is rejected. Randy Orton, fresh off his victory over Sheamus to become the new United States Champion, takes on Zack Ryder in a non-title singles match. Orton looks to continue his momentum as champion, while Ryder aims to prove himself against a top competitor. However, Sheamus, the former US champion, came out and interrupted the match after getting into an altercation with Randy Orton. After his hard-fought victory over Christian at SummerSlam, David Hart Smith enters the ring to celebrate his WWE Championship win. He expresses gratitude to the fans and acknowledges the challenges he faced to reach this moment. However, the celebration is cut short as Triple H interrupts, congratulating Smith, but making it clear he wants a shot at the title. The tension between the two sets the stage for a future showdown. Main eventing Raw, Edge and Christian both have reason to believe they deserve a title match with David Hart Smith. Christian is the former champion and is due his rematch, while Edge is one of the last main eventers left who have never lost to D.H. Smith. The two go at it in this main event, with hopes to prove themselves as the rightful contender. The playing field was leveled when Jericho was ejected from ringside, and in a physical contest, Christian gets the better of his familiar adversary here. SummerSlam sent shockwaves through SmackDown, highlighted by The Undertaker's shocking defeat at the hands of The Miz trapped inside Hell in a Cell. The Miz opens up the show, celebrating and bashfully boasting, proclaiming himself as the rightful champion, despite the odds being stacked against him. Vance Archer issues an open challenge to any competitor brave enough to face him. It would be Chavo Guerrero to step up to the plate and go toe-to-toe with the Intercontinental Champion. Vance Archer looked like a worthy champion in this one. Cody Rhodes, looking to climb the ranks on SmackDown, faces off against the high-flying Kofi Kingston. Both superstars aim to gain momentum and position themselves as potential contenders for championship gold. Cody tries to get a leg up on Kofi before the bell, but Kofi was prepared and the fans were treated to a competitive contest. Cody hit a big DDT and scored the pinfall, and added an exclamation point with the post-match assault. ChatGPT has split up the team of Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler as we are headlined with a tag team match featuring the world champion The Miz fighting alongside Jack Swagger as they take part in a contest against Shelton Benjamin and Dolph Ziggler. Swagger has got his eye on The Miz's title while Benjamin and Ziggler, both seeking redemption after their recent losses, aim to prove themselves in this tag team encounter. Swagger and Ziggler held no punches from one another, and The Miz was looking good after slaying the beast known as The Undertaker. With a skull-crushing finale, The Miz secures a victory to end the night. Randy Orton confronts Sheamus backstage, taunting him about the previous title reigns and insinuating that Sheamus doesn't deserve to be champion. Sheamus fires back, warning Orton that he'll regret underestimating him. Randy Orton then issues an open challenge for his United States Championship, daring any superstar to step up and face him for the title. Evan Bourne answers the challenge, looking to seize the opportunity and capture his first singles title in WWE, though the champ would come through and defeat Evan Bourne. John Cena teams up with John Morrison to take on the team of Sheamus and Ted DiBiase Jr. in a hard-hitting tag team match. With tensions running high between the competitors, they deliver an exciting performance. The distraction caused by Randy Orton proved to be costly as Sheamus then took an FU from Cena to end the match, giving the victory to the Big Match Johns. D.H. Smith is approached backstage by an eager up-and-comer, Zack Ryder, who challenges him for the WWE Championship. Smith, respecting Ryder's ambition, accepts the challenge and the match is set for the main event. However, during the match, interference from Triple H costs Smith the victory, hinting at the obstacles he'll face as champion. The Intercontinental Champion Vance Archer opens up SmackDown with a victory over JTG. Shelton Benjamin, seeking redemption after his loss at the previous pay-per-view, takes on an imposing Mike Knox in a singles match. Both competitors are determined to prove themselves and climb the ranks on SmackDown, though only one will move forward. And after some explosive offense, Shelton Benjamin picks up the victory here. More tag team action main eventing SmackDown. ChatGPT paired Big Show and Shad Gaspard to take on Kane and a mystery partner, who would be Kofi Kingston. Pretty strange pairing, but that's not my decision. Big Show tried to end things early, but Kane fought back. This match was all over the place and even saw Cody Rhodes make an appearance. I can't imagine what this is all going to mean, but in an interesting contest, Big Show pins Kofi and takes home the victory to end the night. Christian and Sheamus collide to open up the next week of Raw, where former champions square off to prove who deserves to get their name back on a championship belt. The match is brutal and hard-hitting as both superstars leave it all on the line in their quest to recapture championship glory, and in the end, Sheamus was able to deliver a huge brogue kick, giving him the victory over the former world champion. Tag team champions Edge and Chris Jericho taking on the team of John Cena and Mark Henry? Are there issues between the Big Match Johns? Regardless, this was a competitive match, but ultimately the tag team champions would stand tall. Randy Orton takes on David Hart Smith in a champion versus champion match to main event the show. Throughout the match, Orton taunts Smith, questioning his worthiness as champion. Despite Orton's mind games, the WWE champion remains focused, digs deep and manages to secure the victory, showcasing his resilience and determination in the face of adversity. SmackDown opens up with the World Heavyweight Champion The Miz in the ring. Before he could get much out though, he was interrupted by former champion CM Punk. Big Show and Luke Gallows came to blows while The Miz and CM Punk took verbal spars at one another, but that would end when The Undertaker made his first appearance since SummerSlam, leaving the champion running away with his tail tucked between his legs. Drew McIntyre returns to in-ring action in a surprisingly quick turnaround following being set on fire at SummerSlam at the hands of Kane. He looks to gain some momentum as he takes on Matt Hardy. Hardy puts up a fight, though the mean streak of McIntyre is on display. The Chosen One reigned supreme here and scored the pinfall in dominating fashion. Kane finds himself squaring off against Shad Gaspard. These two big men are looking to prove themselves, and Kane is able to pick up the win here in a physical match. To end SmackDown, Big Show and Luke Gallows will be able to finish what they started earlier in the night as they face off mano a mano. Punk and Miz are ringside, but these big bald boys are focused on doing damage to one another. After the huge clash, it was Big Show standing tall. John Cena, Rey Mysterio, and MVP face off in a triple threat match to open up the final Raw before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. With a win here, these men could definitely be propelled into the title picture going forward. It was an unpredictable, hard-fought contest that eventually saw Rey Mysterio with his hand raised in victory. The Hart Dynasty is reunited as David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd team up for the first time in over a year as they face the team of Ted DiBiase Jr. and Batista. Batista has been a disgruntled animal for months and is looking to take aim at the champ once again. The match is intense, with tensions running high. In the end, Smith pins DiBiase Jr. for the win, sending a message to any contender that he won't back down from a challenge. With a cloud of uncertainty surrounding the #1 contender to David Hart Smith's title, an elimination fatal 4-way is held between Edge, Christian, Triple H, and Sheamus. All 4 competitors have justification to compete against David Hart Smith for the title at the pay-per-view, though only one will emerge victorious here. These competitors showed a strong aspiration to capture the championship, though after a grueling battle, Edge came out on top of this one and secured the championship match. Following the victory, Edge looked to further damage a weakened Triple H, who apparently was still laying in the ring. Shawn Michaels came for the save as the show ended. Mickie James defeated Kelly Kelly to kickstart the in-ring action, which would also secure her a title match against Beth Phoenix. Shelton Benjamin and Dolph Ziggler face off in a match to determine the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Both superstars are hungry for championship gold and eager to prove themselves. Shelton seemed to have it in the bag, but Ziggler wasn't going to let that happen so easily. Benjamin was able to get it done, and he's got himself a title match at the pay-per-view. In the main event, The Undertaker seeks to restart his path of retribution as he takes on Jack Swagger in a highly anticipated showdown. The dead man looks to send a message to The Miz and reclaim his World Heavyweight Championship opportunity, but he's got to stay focused as the All-American American poses a threat to even the most formidable of competitors. This was an exciting match, and in the end it was Jack Swagger who came out on top, heading into the pay-per-view. To open up Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Vance Archer defends his Intercontinental Championship against Shelton Benjamin in a highly anticipated rematch. Benjamin, hungry for redemption after his previous loss, comes into the match with a fierce determination to reclaim his title. Both competitors put on a stellar performance, showcasing their athleticism and skill in the ring. In the end, it's Shelton Benjamin who emerges victorious, hitting Archer with a 450 splash to become the new Intercontinental Champion and bring an end to Archer's reign. Sheamus, seeking redemption after losing his United States Championship, faces off against Randy Orton in a title match that the fans could not wait to see. Whoever wins this match will solidify their status as a dominant force on Monday Night Raw, and these two came prepared to push one another to the limits. Sheamus seemingly had the match won until Christian came down to the ring for a closer look. Randy Orton was able to retake control, deliver an RKO, and successfully retain the United States Championship, though there is certainly an asterisk on this one. Mickie James challenges Beth Phoenix for the women's title in this next contest. These ladies are extremely familiar with one another as another chapter is written within their saga. Mickie is determined to unseat Phoenix as champion, but the Glamazon has been dominant as of late. That dominance continues in a victory here. The next match features a high-stakes showdown between the reigning WWE Champion David Hart Smith and the challenger Edge. Edge is fueled by his desire to become a dual champion after his recent triumph for the tag team titles, and he steps up to challenge Smith for the prestigious WWE Championship. While Smith is the champion, Edge has never lost when these two clash in singles competition, so the champ is coming in as the underdog. The match is an intense battle of wills, with both competitors pulling out all the stops to secure victory. Batista came out to the ring to make his mark on this title match, but Tyson Kidd came to keep this match from going down dishonorably. Edge then took control and after a spear was going to become champ once more, though Smith won't let his reign end that easily. The Hart Dynasty member fought back, and in the end, David Hart Smith proves why he is the fighting champion, overcoming Edge's relentless onslaught and retaining his title with a hard-fought victory. The Miz is tasked with what may be a first in history. He will be defending his World Championship once again trapped inside Hell in a Cell. This time, he's up against just about everyone who has been targeting him. CM Punk, Jack Swagger, and The Undertaker. His comeuppance is all but ensured, right? Right? This free-for-all was hectic and wasn't going to be easy for anybody, though something tells me that this match will be particularly painful for the A-lister. These men pulled no punches in their pursuit to call themselves World Heavyweight Champion. This was a punishing experience for the current champion, The Miz. However, the result may be maddening, as The Miz is somehow able to find a moment to secure the pin on one of the competitors who have clearly given it their all. The Miz truly steals this one, but is able to just barely end this night, still World Heavyweight Champion. If you're enjoying the video, Please help out the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to follow along the ride as we head to WrestleMania. Thanks. Shawn Michaels and Edge go one-on-one to kick off the show. HBK came to Triple H's aid last Monday after Edge tried to do extra damage post-match. This was an exciting contest featuring two timeless talents. The showstopper put on an admirable performance, but was ultimately unable to secure the victory over one half of the tag team champions. David Hart Smith is confronted by Batista, who accuses him of only winning the championship because of luck. Batista challenges Smith to a match next week, claiming he'll expose him as a fluke champion. Smith accepts, eager to prove himself against a formidable opponent with a chip on his shoulder. John Cena is once again tagging with someone who is not John Morrison. This time, it's Zack Ryder as they look to defeat the team of Sheamus and Ted DiBiase Jr. Sheamus is looking to rebound after he failed to reclaim his United States Championship, but John Cena is not going to make that an easy feat. However, Cena cannot kick out of pins for Zack Ryder, and Sheamus picks up the win. In the main event of Raw, Triple H goes toe-to-toe with Rey Mysterio. Triple H is looking to continue building momentum as he eyes a potential championship opportunity in the near future. Though he cannot overlook Rey beforehand, Mysterio delivered an exciting effort against the game, but it was the King of Kings who came out on top to end the night. SmackDown opens up with Drew McIntyre taking on Kofi Kingston in a street fight. McIntyre has been hell-bent on destruction since his Inferno match at SummerSlam, and Kofi is the latest challenger to impede his path. McIntyre wasted absolutely no time in distributing destruction, and was clearly dealing with some lingering effects from his encounter at SummerSlam, but he was still able to end the match rather quickly. Huge tag team matches on tap here. The Straight Edge Society is taking on the Brothers of Destruction. Kane and The Undertaker are finally reunited after The Undertaker was taken out and Kane's journey of seeking vengeance. However, in a shocking twist, Kane turned his back on the Phenom. In a truly surprising sequence of events, the Straight Edge Society picks up the victory. To close out the evening, the world champion The Miz is set to go one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler. The Miz had overcome the slightest of odds to retain the championship in that fatal 4-way just 5 days prior, but being champion comes with its responsibilities, and this is one of them. So the show must go on. Ziggler didn't roll over and would make this match competitive, but the champion's hot streak continues as he racks up another victory here. After the contest, The Miz is exposed to an unexpected sight, the return of Rob Van Dam. RVD would come down to the ring and confront the champion in close proximity, hinting that maybe he will be the next challenger for the world title. John Cena takes on Ted DiBiase Jr. in singles competition to open up Monday Night Raw. Cena is accompanied by John Morrison, and ChatGPT even cleared up that the Big Match Johns are A-OK and are not splitting despite Cena tagging with others as of late. Cena picks up the victory here. Sheamus has gotten himself one more match for Randy Orton's United States Championship. The match is brutal and hard-hitting as both superstars give it their all to walk out with the prestigious title, or at least so we thought. Sheamus becomes unhinged and extends his brutality beyond the rules, getting himself disqualified and intentionally relinquishing his shot at the US title, leaving fans to wonder what's next for the Celtic Warrior. The main event of the evening features the WWE Champion and a very familiar opponent, Batista. Batista is once again looking to dismantle the momentum David Hart Smith has got going, and in a grueling match against the Animal, David Hart Smith faces relentless attacks and mind games from his opponent. The Animal was not going to go down easily, but despite the odds stacked against him, the WWE Champion dug deep and managed to overcome Batista's assault, securing a hard-fought victory and silencing his critics once again. Kane starts the next SmackDown by expressing his frustration and anger towards The Undertaker. He accuses The Undertaker of being ungrateful for Kane's efforts in seeking vengeance for his half-brother's attacker. Kane challenges The Undertaker to come out and face him like a man, but is met with silence. Drew McIntyre goes up against MVP in singles competition. McIntyre is unsatisfied with his lack of opportunities, and is seeking to take out some of those frustrations on MVP. It hasn't looked good for anybody competing against Drew McIntyre as of late, and that will continue here as he picks up another victory. Rob Van Dam shocked the WWE Universe last week when he made his long-awaited return to the WWE, and he'll make his return to in-ring action here in this match against Dolph Ziggler. The crowd erupts with excitement as RVD unleashes his signature high-flying offense, reminding everyone why he's a fan favorite as he coasts to a victory in this one. Our main event features Kane taking on Jack Swagger. Kane channels his anger into the match, dominating Jack Swagger with his power and aggression. However, Kane's emotions get the better of him, allowing the All-American American to capitalize and nearly steal a victory. Kane ultimately wins, but is visibly frustrated. The Undertaker then appears on the Titantron, responding to Kane's accusations. He acknowledges Kane's efforts, but states that he never asked for vengeance. The Undertaker warns Kane to be careful what he wishes for, as their paths may cross sooner than Kane expects. William Regal and Vladimir Kozlov poke their heads into the tag team division as they take on the team of Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu. We haven't seen much of either of these duos lately, but the tag team division is wide open. In the end, Bourne and Tatsu would pick up the crucial win. The United States champion Randy Orton defeated Mark Henry in singles action. After the match, Orton proclaims his reign will be more dominant than the last, and anyone hungry enough can meet him for the challenge. Triple H goes one-on-one with Chris Jericho in the main event, and this one is a tables match. Triple H has been hot on the trail of David Hart Smith and is looking to secure a championship opportunity at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view. Chris Jericho presents a formidable opposition though, and is looking to attract some of the singles spotlight. This match went back and forth, but in the end it was Triple H to secure the victory by pulling out some rather unusual tactics. To close out the show, ChatGPT surprisingly and 100% genuinely books a heartfelt promo from the champion. David Hart Smith reflects on his journey to the top as he shares a heartfelt moment with the memory of his father, the late British Bulldog. The emotional segment highlights the legacy of the Hart family and the pressure Smith feels to uphold their name as the WWE champion. Rest in peace, Davey Boy Smith. The next episode of SmackDown kicks off with Kane continuing to unleash his fury in the ring, overpowering Mike Knox in a brutal singles match. The match serves as a warning to The Undertaker of the destructive force Kane is becoming. Kane issues an ultimatum to The Undertaker, demanding a response to his challenge. He vows to make The Undertaker pay for his perceived disrespect and betrayal. Drew McIntyre and Luke Gallows face off in a #1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship. Both superstars are hungry for an opportunity at the title, leading to a fiercely competitive match, though in this one, Drew McIntyre would finally secure a championship opportunity after defeating Luke Gallows. Raw's Sheamus came over to SmackDown and attacked a top superstar in CM Punk, and would then place a challenge to determine who is the better star at Bragging Rights. The main event will feature two champions here on SmackDown, the Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin fighting alongside Rob Van Dam as they go to battle against the World Heavyweight Champion The Miz and his right-hand man, Big Show. RVD and Benjamin were really making the champion sweat, but that was before The Miz was able to get the hot tag to bring in Big Show, and Show would then put an end to this match, despite RVD seeming to have The Miz's number. The final Raw before heading into the Bragging Rights pay-per-view, David Hart Smith is involved in a vicious assault orchestrated by Triple H, raising doubts about his ability to retain the championship. However, in a defiant act, Smith vows to overcome the odds once again and prove that he's a true fighting champion. The in-ring competition begins with Yoshitatsu going one-on-one with Edge. Tatsu and Bourne have been credited with the title shot at Bragging Rights, and this match will serve as a preview for the title match. If Tatsu and Bourne hope to become champions, they need to hope this was not a preview, as Edge picks up the victory. Randy Orton's open challenge for the United States Championship has come, and that challenge is answered by John Cena. Randy Orton has been performing at a top-tier level as of late, but I'm not sure if he was anticipating his challenger to be the caliber of John Cena. These two know each other very well, and that would make for a match that was not going to be handed over by either man. Both competitors brought some seriously intense offense. However, John Cena was able to hit an FU and crown himself as the new United States Champion. The main event of the night featured the #1 contender Triple H locking horns with Tyson Kidd. Kidd is looking to gain a level of payback on the game for his attack on the WWE Champion earlier in the night. Triple H has been on the top of his game, so Kidd had better be prepared for a fight. While Tyson Kidd certainly put up a solid effort, the ferociousness of the game made for a brutal match that gave the contender some serious momentum heading into the pay-per-view. Kane competes in a no disqualification match against Raw's Rey Mysterio in the SmackDown opener. Despite the chaos and carnage, Kane remains focused on his impending battle with The Undertaker, using Mysterio as a means to release his pent-up aggression. Sheamus travels over from Raw to face Luke Gallows. CM Punk and Sheamus will square off in 2 days at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view, so CM Punk has got a great opportunity here to scout his opponent. However, Sheamus makes light work of Gallows as he cruises to a victory. Sheamus and Punk have a face-to-face confrontation post-match. The Undertaker ambushes Kane backstage, delivering a brutal beatdown. He warns Kane that their match at the pay-per-view will be their final showdown, and The Undertaker will not hold back. The main event of SmackDown has got Rob Van Dam going one-on-one with Big Show. The Miz is eager to see his giant ally weaken the #1 contender, and the Big Show is a dominant force who is certainly up for the task, but Rob Van Dam is determined to make a statement ahead of the pay-per-view clash for the title in just a couple of days. RVD is able to withstand Big Show's heavy offensive push, and he hits the 5-star frog splash to secure the victory. We've made it to bragging rights. After weeks of proving their competitiveness, Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu have emerged as top contenders for the tag team titles. Their chemistry and high-flying style has caught the attention of the WWE Universe, earning them a shot at the reigning champions. Bourne and Tatsu are determined to prove themselves and capture the gold, while the champions are wary of the threat posed by this dynamic duo. After an exciting match, the champions stand tall and successfully defend the tag team titles. Drew McIntyre has been on a dominant streak, picking up wins and asserting his dominance on Friday Night SmackDown. His impressive performances have caught the eye of management, leading to him being granted an opportunity to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. McIntyre sees this as a chance to solidify himself as a top-tier competitor and add championship gold to his resume. Shelton Benjamin was ready for what McIntyre had thrown at him, but eventually McIntyre wore the champion down enough to claim the prize as his own. With tensions rising between Raw and SmackDown, Sheamus steps up to challenge CM Punk in a match to determine brand supremacy. Both superstars are determined to prove which is superior. Sheamus sees this as an opportunity to assert Raw's dominance, while CM Punk is equally determined to defend the honor of SmackDown. The match becomes more than just a battle between two individuals. It becomes a symbol of pride and loyalty to their brands. While both men put it all on the line, it was Sheamus who walked out with his hand held high. The long-standing rivalry between Kane and The Undertaker reaches its boiling point as they are set to clash in a last-man-standing match. The history between these two brothers is filled with betrayal, deception, and intense battles, and their animosity towards each other is only intensified in this latest chapter of their story. Kane feels The Undertaker is ungrateful, while The Undertaker never asked for Kane to seek vengeance to begin with. With no disqualifications and no countouts, this match promises to be brutal and unforgiving as both superstars are willing to do whatever it takes to incapacitate their opponent and emerge victorious. After a brutal match, The Undertaker kept Kane down for the 10 count after a thunderous chokeslam through the announce table. Rob Van Dam makes his return to the WWE with a bang, immediately setting his sights on the World Heavyweight Championship held by The Miz. RVD's high-flying style and fan-favorite status make him a formidable challenger for The Miz's title reign. The Miz, on the other hand, sees RVD as a threat to his championship reign and is determined to leave with his most prized possession, even if he has to get himself counted out to do it. With both superstars hungry for victory, their clash for the World Heavyweight Championship promised to be an electrifying encounter, and that it was. A new World Heavyweight Champion was nearly crowned, but The Miz was able to retain after hitting the skull-crushing finale. Triple H, a seasoned veteran and former WWE champion, sees an opportunity to reclaim championship glory by challenging David Hart Smith for the WWE Championship. David Hart Smith, on the other hand, is a rising star who has overcome numerous obstacles to capture the prestigious title. The two will face off to determine the top dog in the WWE in an Extreme Rules match. Triple H views Smith as a worthy adversary, but is determined to prove that he still has what it takes to be the top of the WWE. And his recent actions have made it unmistakably clear that the King of Kings will do whatever it takes to reclaim his throne. Meanwhile, David Hart Smith is eager to prove himself as a fighting champion by successfully defending his title against one of the all-time greats. Emotions were flaring, and championship aspirations were at the forefront of this monumental clash. It was a long battle, and it was beginning to favor the game. The champ has got no quit in him though, and in the end, David Hart Smith will continue his historic title reign in honor of his father. Join us next time when we address Survivor Series and the TLC pay-per-view. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy. Tag Team Champions Edge and Chris Jericho team up to take on the duo of Primo and R-Truth. Edge and Jericho display their chemistry as a team and continue their success with a victory here. John Cena held an open challenge for his newly won United States Championship. He declared that he's ready to take on any challenger who dares to step up to him. This challenge was answered by Ted DiBiase Jr. and a hard-hitting match ensued. Ultimately though, the new champion would pull through in his first title defense. The main event of Raw features a triple threat match between three huge stars, Batista, Christian, and Sheamus. These three competitors are all hungry to prove their worth as contenders for the WWE title, and they aren't going to hold anything back in this contest. This was a hectic match, but with some opportune timing, Batista was able to take advantage of a weakened opponent and steal the pinfall victory. Friday Night SmackDown opens with Shelton Benjamin, who is seeking redemption after his previous loss at the pay-per-view, taking on MVP in a singles match. Both competitors showcase their skills, but Benjamin ultimately secures the victory with his trademark athleticism. Rob Van Dam is seen backstage watching Shelton Benjamin's match on a monitor. After the match, he approaches Benjamin and offers words of encouragement, acknowledging Benjamin's talent and potential. New Intercontinental Champion Drew McIntyre is set to go one-on-one with Finlay. McIntyre has been on a serious roll as of late, and that does not let up here as he picks up the victory. In the main event, the World Heavyweight Champion is in action. The Miz has managed to once again defend his title at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view, leaving the question of who will be the next to challenge for the title. We know one thing, and that it will not be Dolph Ziggler, as the Miz is able to take care of business here to end the show. To kick off Raw, both female champions Beth Phoenix and Gail Kim are teaming up in tag team action to face off against the Bella Twins. The champions look great in this encounter and showcase their skills as they easily pick up the victory. Shawn Michaels and Triple H team up to face the duo of Zack Ryder and Chavo Guerrero. Michaels and Triple H display their excellent teamwork, dominating their opponents and picking up the win decisively. The final match of the night consists of the current #1 contender Batista going one-on-one with Tyson Kidd. Batista is looking to send a message to D.H. Smith by dealing damage to someone close to him. Tyson Kidd isn't afraid to fight back, but the power of the animal is too much for most. Batista is able to get the victory here after delivering a huge Batista bomb. After the match, Kane makes a surprise appearance on Raw, storming to the ring with fire in his eyes. The Big Red Machine takes out Batista, leaving him lying in the ring as a warning to the rest of the roster. Shelton Benjamin interrupts The Miz during the opening segment of SmackDown, expressing his desire to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. He asserts that he's ready to prove himself as the top dog on SmackDown. Beth Phoenix kicks off the in-ring competition by defeating Maurice in dominating fashion. Kofi Kingston teams up with Dolph Ziggler to take on Rob Van Dam and Shelton Benjamin in a tag team match. The bout is fast-paced and action-packed, with tensions running high between all four competitors, as an impressive performance for anybody here could get themselves noticed. In the end, it is Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam who take home the victory here. CM Punk looks to regain some momentum following his loss to Sheamus at Bragging Rights, and he will look to do so against Rey Mysterio, who is making his return to the blue brand. Though a victory over a former world champion certainly won't come easily, it was an exciting encounter that eventually saw CM Punk secure the victory. Gail Kim opens up Raw by handedly defeating Alicia Fox after delivering some exciting maneuvers. After the match, Beth Phoenix appears and she and Gail then have a tense confrontation in the ring. They exchange heated words, each arguing that their championship is superior. The segment ends with them agreeing to settle the dispute in the ring. Kane is seen wreaking havoc backstage, attacking anyone who comes across his path. The Big Match Johns face off against tag team champions Edge and Chris Jericho. The match is highly competitive, with both teams showcasing their skills, including the United States champion John Cena putting on a great show. However, Edge and Chris Jericho's teamwork proves superior as they secure the win. The champions then begin a boastful celebration until Triple H and Shawn Michaels come out to the stage, exchanging heated words with the champions. The tension between the two teams reaches its peak as they prepare for their championship showdown at Survivor Series. WWE Champion D.H. Smith steps up to the furious monster Kane, and the two compete one-on-one for the main event of the evening. It was a physical clash between two big names in the WWE, though this match was unable to determine a definitive winner after Kane got himself disqualified after hitting the champion with a chair and then a chokeslam, sending a message that nobody is safe. SmackDown opens up as Shelton Benjamin enters the ring and issues a direct challenge to The Miz for the World Heavyweight Championship. He declares that he's tired of waiting and demands a shot at the title. Drew McIntyre defends his Intercontinental Championship against Mike Knox in a hard-hitting singles match. McIntyre showcases his ruthless aggression and successfully retains his title. Jack Swagger got back into singles action and was able to defeat Matt Hardy in an exciting contest. Shelton Benjamin is put to the test in this main event match. This time, he is pitted against a familiar face, Rob Van Dam. The two athletic superstars put on an extremely exciting match to end the show, and in the end, Shelton Benjamin would prove worthy of the main event spotlight as he scored the victory over RVD. The two would then shake hands after the match in a show of respect. Raw opens up with a contract signing segment held in the ring. Beth Phoenix and Gail Kim sit across from each other, signing the contract for their title unification match at the pay-per-view. D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H team up to take on the team of Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. The match is intense, with both teams giving it their all in preparation for the pay-per-view. Michaels and Triple H secure the win, sending a message to Edge and Jericho in the process. Kane issues an open challenge to any superstar brave enough to face him in a no disqualification match. Randy Orton answers the call, seeking to put an end to Kane's path of destruction. The match is brutal and chaotic, with both superstars utilizing weapons and brawling all over the arena. Kane's ferocity is unmatched here, and the Big Red Machine picks up a victory. To end the night, Batista and D.H. Smith are seen in the ring caught in a heated exchange of words. Batista, the #1 contender, claims that Smith's fairy tale will end on Sunday. Smith, eager to continue proving himself as a worthy champion, vows to prove Batista wrong. However, the Big Red Machine once again makes an appearance, getting involved with the two, and is ultimately named a participant in the WWE title match at Survivor Series. Drew McIntyre engages in singles action against Dolph Ziggler to open up SmackDown. McIntyre is scheduled to defend his Intercontinental title at Survivor Series, but he is yet to be informed on who that will be. Nonetheless, McIntyre comes away standing tall in this one. Jack Swagger, MVP, and Raw's Tyson Kidd square off in a triple threat that may establish some clarity as to where these guys stand in the pecking order. It was an intense clash where all competitors could see the opportunity presented. Matt Hardy even got involved. And in the end, it was MVP to secure the victory and move himself forward. Shelton Benjamin has challenged The Miz to a world title match at Survivor Series. However, in order to reach the status of #1 contender, Shelton has got to get through a former world champion, CM Punk. This match is a true test of merit for Shelton Benjamin, as a loss here could send him back down the pecking order, leaving his challenge to fall on deaf ears, though a win here could place him in the world title match. Luke Gallows became heavily involved to stack the deck against Benjamin, but in a clash of contrasting styles, the gold standard was in fact able to secure the victory, sealing his opportunity at Survivor Series, but not without attracting outside attention. We have arrived at Survivor Series, and we are set to kick off with a match to unify the Women's and Divas Championship to determine who is the true top female in the WWE. Beth Phoenix and Gail Kim have been dominant forces in the women's division, each holding their respective titles with pride. However, tensions have been rising between them as they both claim to be the true top female competitor. With the decision to unify the titles, they are set to compete in a historic 2 out of 3 falls match to determine the undisputed women's champion. Both women are determined to prove their superiority and cement their legacy as the sole champion, but only one will fulfill their goal. In a truly competitive bout, it was Beth Phoenix to walk out as the undisputed women's champion. DX and Edge and Chris Jericho have been engaged in a heated rivalry for weeks, with the tag team titles at the center of their conflict. D-Generation X, the legendary duo, has been relentless in their pursuit of the titles, while Edge and Chris Jericho have used every trick in the book to hold on to their gold and make the lives of the future Hall of Famers as difficult as possible. A championship match between the two teams is made to settle the score, making for an epic showdown between two legendary tag teams. After a hard-fought battle, it was DX to reign supreme as tag champions. Rob Van Dam, known for his high-flying and innovative offense, has been on a quest to capture championship gold since his return to the WWE. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre has been dominant as an Intercontinental Champion, boasting about his superiority over the entire roster. RVD has earned his opportunity to challenge McIntyre for the title, and their clash promises to be a battle between two contrasting styles: McIntyre's power and aggression against RVD's speed and agility. In this encounter, finesse would reign supreme and a new Intercontinental Champion would be crowned. Shelton Benjamin, known for his athleticism and in-ring prowess, has been on a winning streak, impressing fans and management alike. The Miz, the arrogant and cunning World Heavyweight Champion, has been using every tactic known to man to retain his title and is currently riding a huge wave of momentum carrying this title run. With tensions escalating between them, Shelton Benjamin steps up to challenge The Miz for the World Heavyweight Championship, determined to prove that he deserves to be at the top of the mountain. Benjamin had given it his all, and it was an exciting back and forth contest, but unfortunately the gold standard would come up short and The Miz would remain champion. The main event of the night consists of our WWE Champion, the all-time great David Hart Smith, defending his WWE title against two powerhouse superstars with a history of dominance in the WWE, who have also been targeting the champion as of late: Batista and Kane. This match is an elimination-style format to truly determine the sole survivor, and the stage is set for this colossal encounter. Zack Ryder made an unexpected appearance in this match, adding to the unpredictability this triple threat poses already. Each competitor was willing to give it everything they had to walk out triumphant. After a Batista bomb followed by the champion's signature offense, Kane was eliminated, and we were left with two familiar foes in Smith and Batista. Batista had been determined to end the fairy tale and embarrass David Hart Smith, but the champion was equally focused on securing the title and continuing to honor the legacy of his father. It was an intense match, but our WWE champion was in fact able to retain his title to end the night and move forward, still WWE champion. I know we normally make these videos a bit longer, but I wanted to make sure I could get something out for you guys as quick as possible given my time being a bit more restricted lately. So thanks for sticking through with me on this one. I appreciate you real ones, and we'll get back to our regular content schedule as soon as we can. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video where we tackle the TLC pay-per-view and set our sights on the road to WrestleMania. Take it easy. John Cena addresses the WWE Universe, expressing his desire to compete and prove himself once again as champion. William Regal, accompanied by his enforcer Ezekiel Jackson, interrupts Cena's speech, belittling him and claiming that he's not worthy of a title any longer. Mark Henry issues an open challenge to anyone brave enough to face him in a singles match. John Morrison steps up to the challenge, eager to prove himself against the world's strongest man. Morrison, inspired by the success of his fellow Big Match John, is looking to rise in the ranks and is able to pick up a big victory here with a nearly unbelievable feat of strength. William Regal competed in singles action to back up some of the claims that he had made earlier in the evening. Taking on Yoshitatsu, Regal shows a relentless side to him, proving that he means business in his pursuit for Cena's title. Later in the evening, Batista and Zack Ryder team up in a tag team match against a formidable duo of Randy Orton and SmackDown's Rey Mysterio. Despite facing tough opposition, Batista and Ryder display remarkable teamwork and chemistry, leading them to a decisive victory. David Hart Smith, the reigning WWE champion, stands tall in the ring, proudly displaying the championship belt. He issues an open challenge to anyone brave enough to face him for the title. Sheamus, hungry for championship gold, steps up to the challenge, declaring his intention to dethrone Smith and become the new WWE champion. David Hart Smith, confident in his abilities, accepts Sheamus's challenge, setting the stage for a heated rivalry. Over on SmackDown, The Miz stands in the center of the ring, proudly displaying the World Heavyweight Championship belt around his waist. Boasting about his dominance as champion, Big Show confronts The Miz, challenging him to a match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Miz initially laughs off the challenge, underestimating Big Show's seriousness. However, Big Show's imposing presence and change in demeanor leave The Miz shaken, setting the stage for a clash between the two stars. The in-ring action begins with a tag team match featuring Cody Rhodes and Vance Archer taking on Shelton Benjamin and new Intercontinental Champion Rob Van Dam. This is a contest featuring 4 former Intercontinental Champions within our universe, and all of these guys are looking to improve their place on the card to take the next step. RVD and Shelton Benjamin delivered a dominant performance that actually led to Cody Rhodes leaving the match in frustration. The two would then take advantage to secure the victory. CM Punk and Jack Swagger have a confrontation backstage. Both stars claim their superiority over the other. Punk boasts about his straight-edge lifestyle and his reign as world champion, while Swagger touts his collegiate wrestling background and natural athleticism. The undisputed women's champion, Beth Phoenix, makes her way to the ring as she issues an open challenge to any woman on the roster, daring them to step up and try to take the title from her grasp. Kelly makes her way to the ring to answer the challenge, and Beth Phoenix makes light work of the challenger as she makes a statement to the entire women's roster that she is here to stay as champion. The main event of SmackDown features The Undertaker, returning from hiatus to headline the night to take on the formidable yet undermatched competitor in Matt Hardy. Hardy wasn't going to back down, but the intimidating aura of the dead man could rattle any competitor. Ultimately, the match ended in a no contest after The Undertaker was attacked by Drew McIntyre, leaving questions that will need answers. Back on Raw, John Cena continues to build momentum as he takes on a member of Regal's stable, Vladimir Kozlov, in a hard-fought match. Despite Kozlov's brute strength, Cena manages to outsmart him and secure an impressive victory. D-Generation X defends their tag team titles against Edge and Chris Jericho in a highly competitive match. Both teams give it their all, with near falls and dramatic moments keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. In the end, Triple H and Shawn Michaels retain their titles, solidifying their dominance in the tag team division. David Hart Smith taking on John Morrison main events the evening. John Morrison has got a big opportunity in front of him, and a victory here could do wonders in getting his name noticed and out of the shadow of his tag team partner. However, D.H. Smith has no intentions of failing in this match and is equally determined to send a message to his contenders that he will survive any challenge. It was a competitive contest, but Sheamus makes his presence known by attacking D.H. Smith during the main event, sending a clear message that he's not to be underestimated. Smith retaliates, defending his honor and the championship belt. The tension between the two competitors escalates as they exchange heated words and engage in physical altercations in the ring before they're separated. Drew McIntyre continues his campaign against The Undertaker, attacking him backstage and leaving him laid out in the locker room. The attack sends shockwaves throughout the WWE universe as McIntyre shows no remorse for his actions. Alicia Fox and Melina take part in women's singles competition to determine who might be the next challenger for Beth Phoenix's title. In a contest with plenty at stake for both of these ladies, they gave it their all, but eventually it was Alicia Fox to secure the victory. Big Show makes his return to the singles division, going one-on-one with Christian in an attempt to establish his dominance in the WWE and on SmackDown. Going against another former world champion, Big Show is determined to prove himself and solidify the legitimacy of his claim as contender. In a physical contest, Big Show secures a big victory. To main event the night, Jack Swagger is going one-on-one with Cody Rhodes. CM Punk is in attendance for this match, and in turn, Jack Swagger is determined to showcase his dominance with his opposition watching. Cody Rhodes is a formidable competitor, but Swagger has clearly got something to prove to the Second City spectator. In convincing fashion, Swagger picks up the victory. To open Monday Night Raw, William Regal engages in one-on-one action with Evan Bourne. Regal has already done a number on Bourne's partner Yoshitatsu weeks ago, and is looking to solidify himself as the rightful contender for John Cena's United States Championship. Evan Bourne made it competitive, but William Regal was able to get the victory in the end and officially name himself #1 contender for Cena's title. Edge and Chris Jericho are frustrated by their inability to regain the tag team titles from D-Generation X. They demand another rematch, but Triple H and Shawn Michaels brush them off, claiming that they've already proven themselves as the superior team. Edge and Jericho, determined to reclaim their lost glory, vow to do whatever it takes to get another shot at the titles. Zack Ryder is set to compete with Randy Orton in singles competition. Orton is looking to get back to his winning ways and into title contention. However, in a shocking turn of events, Ted DiBiase Jr. reveals he has aligned with Batista and Zack Ryder as the trio take out the Viper, leading to a disqualification victory for Randy. The newly formed faction declare themselves the future of WWE and vow to take control of the company. Sheamus and Kane take on the Hart Dynasty in the Raw main event. The rivalry between Sheamus and David Hart Smith intensifies. Sheamus proves to be a formidable opponent and has been doing so since the beginning of this universe mode, pushing Smith to his limits and leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. David Hart Smith, determined to retain his championship, fights back with everything that he has, refusing to let Sheamus take away all that he's worked so hard to achieve. While the title may not be on the line in this match, it is a precursor to the physicality that these two will share. However, the unrelenting offense brought by Sheamus and Kane was too much for Tyson Kidd to handle as he took the pinfall. SmackDown opens up with CM Punk taking on Cody Rhodes. Punk has been butting heads with Jack Swagger as of late, and is making an attempt of one-upmanship over his adversaries by handling the mutual opponent in a more dominant fashion than Swagger. Unfortunately for Cody, he is used as a prop in this match, and CM Punk aims to send a message. In the next match, Drew McIntyre goes head-to-head against Kofi Kingston. The Chosen One displays a new level of confidence since his brutal actions towards the dead man, and continues to inflict damage upon whoever crosses his path. McIntyre picks up the decisive victory here, but after the match, The Undertaker, fueled by revenge, unleashes his fury on McIntyre, delivering a brutal beatdown that leaves the Chosen One battered and broken. Beth Phoenix defends her undisputed women's championship against Alicia Fox in a highly anticipated clash of contrasting styles. Beth Phoenix has been a dominant, powerful champion since the beginning of her reign, while Alicia Fox is a cunning, former champion herself and is focused on dethroning the Glamazon. Neither of these two would give up easily, but in the end, Beth Phoenix would stand tall and retain her championship, continuing her dominant run. The faction of Batista, Zack Ryder, and Ted DiBiase Jr. continue to make waves in WWE, targeting top superstars and leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. This time, DiBiase Jr. is able to score a huge victory over Goldust. Vladimir Kozlov and Ezekiel Jackson are set to compete with the Big Match Johns in a huge tag team match with William Regal looming ringside. The two large men were focused on breaking the United States champion, though everything did not go quite as planned. The Big Match Johns picked up the victory, showcasing Cena's resilience and determination to overcome the odds stacked against him. Meanwhile, tensions simmer between Regal and his associates. Edge and Chris Jericho resort to desperate measures to secure a rematch for the tag team titles, attacking Triple H and Shawn Michaels backstage. The assault leaves Triple H injured, casting doubt on D-Generation X's ability to defend their titles. Sheamus is set to go one-on-one with Tyson Kidd in the Raw main event before the TLC pay-per-view. As the showdown between Sheamus and David Hart Smith at the upcoming event draws near, emotions run high as Sheamus gets himself disqualified intentionally to do more damage to the champion's friend. Both competitors are willing to do whatever it takes to emerge victorious and claim the WWE Championship. That is evident as the show ends in chaos following a physical brawl. Drew McIntyre seeks to gain the upper hand in his rivalry with The Undertaker by recruiting allies to help him take down the Dead Man. He aligns himself with Finlay and Vance Archer. Theodore Long would then send Archer to go
one-on-one with The Undertaker!
And the match would ensue. It's no secret The Undertaker is a bad man, and angering him like McIntyre has is bad news for anybody. In this case, Vance Archer. The Undertaker delivered the Tombstone Piledriver, but maybe more importantly, a message to McIntyre. He is in for a fight come Sunday. The rivalry between CM Punk and Jack Swagger reaches a boiling point when they clash in a highly anticipated match on live television. The match is hard fought and evenly matched, with both superstars pulling out all the stops to prove themselves as the bigger star. In the end, the match ends in a controversial double countout, leaving Punk and Swagger frustrated and angry. Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam clash in a high-stakes match to determine the third competitor to take part in the World Heavyweight Championship match at the TLC pay-per-view. The match is intense and emotional, with both men giving it their all to prove themselves as the superior competitor. In the end, Shelton Benjamin emerges victorious, securing his spot in the title match at the upcoming event. Rob Van Dam is left devastated and questioning the true nature of their friendship. They try to maintain a facade of solidarity, but it becomes increasingly clear that their friendship may not survive the intense competition. The atmosphere is electric for this TLC pay-per-view. Kicking off the show, two rivals go head-to-head in a fierce battle for supremacy. John Cena defends his United States title against William Regal, accompanied by Ezekiel Jackson. But Cena refuses to be deterred, fighting with all of the loyalty and respect he can muster. Cena pulls out an incredible burst of energy and mounts a comeback, allowing Cena to overcome the odds and execute his finishing move, the FU, pinning Regal to the mat and securing the 3 count as well as the United States Championship. The showdown for the tag team titles between D-Generation X and Edge and Chris Jericho takes place in front of a sold-out crowd. Both teams give it their all in a brutal battle for supremacy. Edge and Chris Jericho target Triple H's injury, trying to exploit his weakness and gain the upper hand. Despite the odds stacked against them, D-Generation X refuses to back down, fighting to retain their titles in this hectic ladder match. In the climax, Shawn Michaels is able to hit a timely sweet chin music, allowing the avenue to open up for D-Generation X to retain their titles. The arena erupts in celebration as the two future Hall of Famers stand tall in the ring, triumphant in their victory. Edge and Chris Jericho look on in defeat, realizing that they may never be able to overcome the unstoppable force that is D-Generation X. The highly anticipated rematch between CM Punk and Jack Swagger finally takes place at the pay-per-view event, with the winner earning the right to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. CM Punk and Jack Swagger step into the ring, fueled by their mutual disdain for one another. In a match where momentum was traded and both competitors delivered punishing offense, Jack Swagger was able to catch CM Punk off guard, securing the victory and solidifying his status as the next #1 contender. The Undertaker is set to go one-on-one with Drew McIntyre next. McIntyre has been determined to prove he belongs in the main event scene by taking down a legend. The Undertaker has been focused since his return and is looking to silence the issue that McIntyre has become. It was a physical match between two hard-hitting competitors, with personal animosity and bitter feelings at the forefront in this one. In the climax of the match, just when it seemed like McIntyre has the upper hand, The Undertaker summons his legendary resilience and delivers a devastating tombstone piledriver, pinning McIntyre to the mat and securing the victory. As The Undertaker stands tall in the ring, victorious once again, McIntyre and his allies retreat in defeat, realizing that they underestimated the power of the dead man. Shelton Benjamin and Big Show challenge The Miz for the World Heavyweight Championship in a TLC match. Big Show has been integral to the championship reign of The Miz, and the Giant is ready for his flowers. Shelton Benjamin is a hungry challenger who has earned his way into title contention and aims to finally take advantage of the opportunity in front of him. This was anybody's match, but RVD made a shocking appearance at ringside. He hesitates for a moment, torn between his loyalty to his friend Shelton Benjamin and his desire to reclaim his spot as a top contender, but ultimately comes looking to aid his friend. In the end, Rob Van Dam's interference backfires, distracting Shelton Benjamin and allowing Big Show to capitalize and capture the World Heavyweight Championship. As the new champion celebrates his hard-fought victory, The Miz cannot believe that his title reign has finally come to an end, and Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam share a tense moment in the ring, with their friendship hanging in the balance. The highly anticipated match between Sheamus and David Hart Smith for the WWE Championship unfolds in front of a captivated audience. These two warriors go head-to-head in a battle for supremacy. Sheamus unleashes his brutal offense, but David Hart Smith refuses to back down, fighting with the heart of a true champion. Neither man is willing to back down or give an inch, and both are prepared to leave it all in the ring to walk away as the face of the company. However, there must be a winner and there must be a loser. In the end, Sheamus knew it would take his entire arsenal to take down the champ. The Celtic Warrior delivers a devastating blow that knocks Smith out cold with a brogue kick. With the referee counting the pinfall, Sheamus emerges victorious, capturing the WWE Championship and fulfilling his dream while crushing David Hart Smith's. The WWE Universe erupts in both shock and awe as Sheamus celebrates his hard-earned victory, while David Hart Smith looks on in disbelief. His reign as champion and the dream of his family had come to an end. The road to WrestleMania sure is going to be hectic. We have fast forwarded through a few weeks straight to the Royal Rumble, and to open the show, Beth Phoenix puts her undisputed women's championship on the line against her longtime friend turned rival, Natalya. These two clash in a battle for supremacy, with Natalya aiming to prove herself as the dominant force in the women's division. This is a battle we've seen before, but Natalya seems to be on a different level in this encounter, coming with an aggressive offense that caught the Glamazon off guard. However, this dominant run of the Glamazon is looking to continue after another powerful display from Beth Phoenix. This faction has been wreaking havoc on the Raw roster since their formation a little over a month ago, and they've now set their sights on the tag titles and future Hall of Famers Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Under Batista's tutelage, Ryder and DiBiase Jr. have excelled when it comes to in-ring competition, making this an extremely competitive contest. D-Generation X had taken control of the match and was looking to retain the tag titles, but Ryder and DiBiase Jr. were gifted another chance due to a timely interference from Batista. This slight moment of distraction on the end of DX gave just enough opportunity for Ryder and DiBiase Jr. to pull off the huge upset and become new tag team champions. Shelton Benjamin challenges Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship in an Extreme Rules match. The friendship between these two has been put to the test in the past 2 months, most notably what ended up being a distraction from RVD that Shelton Benjamin believes to have cost him the World Championship at the TLC pay-per-view. What would have been a masterclass in athleticism and exciting maneuvers was turned into a physical clash of personal animosity and underlying issues between two guys looking to take their career to the next level. After a grueling battle, Shelton Benjamin was able to pull a bit of a fast one on RVD and secure the pinfall as well as once again the Intercontinental Championship. Sheamus is set to defend the WWE Championship against former champion and poster boy for miracles, David Hart Smith. This clash is highly emotional and extremely intense, in which these two will have to put it all on the line as it was deemed a Falls Count Anywhere match, meaning all rules are out the window. David Hart Smith had become no stranger to adversity, however the champion has been on his game and elevated himself to true monster status. These two went back and forth, exchanging signature offense, and Sheamus's plan to introduce a flaming table into the mix eventually backfired after he was put through it. Despite all of the carnage, Sheamus kept fighting and was eventually able to end the match and walk away from this brutal encounter still champion. New World Heavyweight Champion Big Show defends his title against Jack Swagger, who is riding a wave of momentum following his big victory at the previous pay-per-view. However, he is facing a giant task. The 7-foot-tall world champion who had just recently turned his back attack on longtime friend The Miz. This monster is hungry for notoriety and is looking to solidify his status as champion with a successful defense here. These two gave it all they got, but in the end, Big Show connected with a devastating right hand, ending the match and Swagger's championship hopes. The Royal Rumble match is upon us, and this star-studded match will kick off with former champions The Miz and David Hart Smith, even sporting a fresh pair of trunks. Your typical Royal Rumble shenanigans were bound to take place, and we were even treated to a surprising return from The Rock. Superstars came and went, but eventually we came down to the final two, new Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin and The Undertaker. The two would duke it out, but in the end, the Dead Man would chokeslam the Gold Standard over the top rope to secure the victory as well as a world title match at WrestleMania. The road to WrestleMania has just begun, but it's already shaping up to be something huge. The next day on Raw, the WWE Champion Sheamus kicks off the show by gloating about his dominance and declaring himself as the undisputed ruler of WWE. However, he is interrupted by Raw General Manager, who announces that Sheamus will defend his title in the Elimination Chamber at the upcoming pay-per-view. To kick off the in-ring action, we've got a qualifying match for said Elimination Chamber between the Big Red Machine Kane and former champion David Hart Smith. The powerhouse Kane and the resilient Smith put on an exciting contest, with both competitors displaying critical offensive pushes at key points in the match. However, an interference from Batista and his cohorts would bring issue for the Hart Dungeon graduate, and Kane would take advantage and lock in his spot within the Elimination Chamber. Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu are in tag team action taking on the Big Match Johns. John Cena has been looking good ever since becoming United States Champion and has consistently left the door open for new challengers to step up. Evan Bourne is one of those guys with his eyes on the gold, and this tag team match was an exciting contest that portrayed Bourne as a formidable competitor once again despite his team coming up short. In the main event, the second qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber, Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. The two longtime rivals square off in a classic battle of wits and skill, with the winner earning a chance to compete for the WWE Championship. These two are willing to empty their tanks in order to get back in the title picture. While these two are extremely familiar with one another, they definitely do not fail to put on an exciting match. In the end, a code breaker was enough to secure the victory for Jericho, as well as his inclusion in the Elimination Chamber. Over on SmackDown, the People's Champion makes his long-awaited return to the WWE, greeted by thunderous applause and chants from the fans. The Rock takes to the ring, soaking in the adulation before addressing the audience. He promises to lay the smackdown on anyone who dares to step in his way and declares that he's back to electrify the WWE once again. The Rock makes an impromptu challenge to any superstar in the back. The challenge was then answered by The Miz, who believes he can make a statement by taking on the returning legend. Tensions between Rob Van Dam and Shelton Benjamin continue to develop as RVD accompanies the new Intercontinental Champion during his match, despite Benjamin insisting he doesn't need any help during his matches. Benjamin is tasked with going one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler. The new Intercontinental Champion is able to take care of business and secure the victory, leading to a tense confrontation with RVD post-match. Royal Rumble winner The Undertaker and Jack Swagger clash in a hard-hitting match. Swagger tries to use his technical prowess to gain the upper hand, but The Undertaker's supernatural presence proves to be too much. The Dead Man hits the Tombstone Piledriver to secure the victory, but Swagger vows to prove himself in the weeks to come. In the main event, The Rock and The Miz engage in a fierce battle, with The Rock showcasing his trademark athleticism and charisma. Despite The Miz's best efforts, The Rock hits the rock bottom to secure the victory, making a triumphant return to WWE. John Cena and Christian face off in a highly anticipated match to determine the next entrant in the Elimination Chamber. The match is intense and evenly matched, with both men giving it their all to secure the spot in the championship match. In the end, the United States Champion emerges victorious, overcoming Captain Charisma's cunning and resilience to punch his ticket to the Elimination Chamber. After the match, Batista, Zack Ryder, and Ted DiBiase Jr. continue their reign of terror, targeting John Cena and Christian, leaving the two competitors beaten down. The trio cut promos boasting about their dominance and challenging anyone who dares to stand in their way. Later in the evening, David Hart Smith faces off against Ted DiBiase Jr. in a singles match, proving that he is not afraid to stand up to their bullying tactics. Despite the odds stacked against him, Smith emerges victorious, sending a clear message to Batista, Ryder, and DiBiase that he will not back down. In the main event, Kane is set to go one-on-one with Triple H. Physicality is at the forefront in this exciting contest between two main event caliber stars, with Kane specifically becoming more unstable by the week. Kane threw every bit of his offensive arsenal at the game, however nothing seemed to keep Triple H down. His frustrations became increasingly apparent, and Kane decided to take matters into his own hands after getting himself disqualified, but seeming to keep Triple H down for good in the process. It's Friday night, and The Rock continues to make waves in the WWE as he confronts another superstar, this time Cody Rhodes, who has been boasting about being the show stealer of SmackDown. The challenge is set and the match commenced. The Rock dominates much of the action, showing why he's known as the Great One. However, Rhodes proves to be a resilient opponent, using his cunning and agility to counter The Rock's offense. In the end, The Rock delivers the People's Elbow to pick up the win. Rob Van Dam is set to go one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler, much like Shelton Benjamin last week. During the match, RVD constantly looks to Shelton Benjamin, who is sitting ringside after hitting his offensive maneuvers, sending the message that he has Shelton Benjamin in his sights. Ziggler continues to put up a fight, but his attempts are futile as RVD secures the victory. After the match, another confrontation is shared between Benjamin and RVD. This time, Benjamin loses his cool and strikes Rob Van Dam from behind. To main event the evening, Drew McIntyre, backed by his newly formed faction dubbed as Broken Dreams, consisting of Finlay and Vance Archer, is set to go one-on-one with Rey Mysterio. Drew McIntyre is dead set on moving into the main event scene. However, the masked luchador and former world champion is standing in front of him here. Neither of these competitors intended on walking out of the arena as the loser in this pivotal contest, but in the end, McIntyre was able to take advantage of a distraction from his ally and defeat Mysterio, and then add an exclamation point with a post-match assault. Over on Monday night, Kane's rage reaches new heights as he faces off against Shawn Michaels in a no disqualification match. The match is brutal and unforgiving, with both superstars using weapons and the environment to inflict punishment on each other. Kane is relentless against Michaels, bludgeoning him with a fury of offense, eventually hitting a chokeslam, securing the victory. However, Kane's assault continues after the match, as he refuses to let up on Michaels, showcasing his unrelenting rage. Batista confronts D.H. Smith backstage, accusing him of stealing his spotlight and opportunities. The tension between the two superstars continues to escalate, with Batista vowing to make Smith pay for his perceived arrogance. David Hart Smith would then go one-on-one with tag team champion Zack Ryder. Smith has been dealing with Batista's faction and the havoc they've been creating in the recent weeks, and is looking to finally settle things by shutting up another one of Batista's henchmen. David Hart Smith would take care of business in this match. However, following the contest, Batista and his crew were quick to back up their words from earlier and attacked Smith, leaving him in a bad way. In the main event, John Morrison aims to join fellow Big Match John in the Elimination Chamber as he competes in a qualifying match against Edge. Both superstars are hungry for a shot at the WWE Championship and are willing to do whatever it takes to earn their spot in the prestigious match. Edge even won the WWE Championship at last year's event, and in a hard-fought battle, Edge emerged victorious once again, outmaneuvering John Morrison to secure his place in the Elimination Chamber. Over on SmackDown, we've got CM Punk cutting a promo, complaining about The Rock's presence and questioning his intentions. The Rock would then interrupt this promo and place a challenge to CM Punk to do something about his grievances. CM Punk accepts the challenge, and the match is set. Jack Swagger seeks redemption after his loss to The Undertaker, confronting the dead man backstage and demanding a rematch. The Undertaker accepts, intrigued by Swagger's determination. A battle royal is set in place to determine the next #1 contender for Beth Phoenix's undisputed women's championship. Hungry contenders and former champions filled the ring, all looking to separate themselves from the pack and make a claim to be the sole challenger. It was a match full of ups and downs, and it came down to Mickie James and Gail Kim as the final two. In the end, it was Gail Kim to outlast the ladies and come out on top to secure a championship match. The Undertaker and Jack Swagger face off once again in a rematch. Swagger shows more aggression this time, leaving his mat wrestling style behind and bringing the fight to the dead man. Swagger has made it clear he's not afraid to get in the ring with the Phenom. However, the dead man's resilience shines through and he ultimately hits the chokeslam for the win. The main event match between The Rock and CM Punk is highly anticipated, with both big-time superstars giving it their all. The Rock's raw power and intensity clash with CM Punk's technical prowess, creating an electrifying atmosphere. These two stars put on a phenomenal match for the fans to enjoy and sent them home happy. But in the end, The Rock hits the rock bottom to secure another victory. The final Raw before the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view opens up with David Hart Smith squaring off in the ring with William Regal. Like always, Regal puts up one hell of a fight, but David Hart Smith seemed to have the match under control until Batista's crew were up to their usual shenanigans. This time, however, Smith was prepared with some legendary backup. Jake the Snake Roberts and Jimmy Superfly Snuka stormed the ring in aid of the former world champion. Batista couldn't believe his eyes, but David Hart Smith had an answer for their numbers advantage. Smith hit a power slam and ended the match in victory. Kane's unbridled rage continues in a showdown with Mark Henry and a last man standing match. The match is brutal and hard-hitting, with both behemoths pushing each other to their limits. Kane and Mark Henry trade devastating blows. However, Kane's rage proves to be too much as he unleashes a relentless assault on Henry, incapacitating him for the 10 count. After the match, Kane stands tall in the ring, his unrelenting rage consuming him completely. The WWE Universe watches in awe and fear as Kane's transformation is complete, making a strong case that he may become WWE Champion come Sunday. United States Champion John Cena is out yet again to make an open challenge challenge for his title. Despite his scheduled appearance in the Elimination Chamber match in less than a week, Cena is looking for the smoke. That challenge would be answered by Christian. These two recently had a match to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and they would put on another exciting bout that saw the title nearly change hands. In the end though, it was Cena who hit an FU and secured his championship. To end the night, the final Elimination Chamber qualifying match is underway between Batista and Randy Orton. Batista has been dominant in the ring recently, and it even makes you wonder why he feels the need for backup in the first place. Randy Orton, the former world champion in his own right and future Hall of Famer, was not going to back down though. Orton's signature offense was effective, but not enough to keep the animal down. Although, thanks to a timely interference from David Hart Smith in a form of payback for Batista's same actions, Orton was able to hit a huge RKO and secure his place in the WWE title match in just 6 days. To open the show, a triple threat is held to determine the next #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Drew McIntyre, Matt Hardy, and MVP take part in this contest, with each competitor holding aspirations to challenge for the prestigious title. After an exciting contest, Drew McIntyre was able to walk away victorious. Fed up with his recent shortcomings, Jack Swagger ambushes The Undertaker backstage, attacking him with a steel chair. The assault leaves The Undertaker bloodied and battered, but the dead man refuses to back down, as he would place a challenge to Swagger for the Elimination Chamber. The Rock's return tour takes an unexpected turn as he finds himself face to face with Rey Mysterio, who challenges him to a match. Mysterio, known for his high-flying style, believes he can outmaneuver The Rock and prove himself as a worthy opponent. The match between The Rock and Rey Mysterio is a thrilling encounter, with Mysterio using his speed and agility to keep The Rock on his toes. However, The Rock's strength and experience prove to be too much as he delivers a thunderous rock bottom to secure the win, even with The Miz making an appearance. The main event of SmackDown consists of 4 guys who will be taking part in the Elimination Chamber match in a matter of days. Big Show and The Miz are begrudgingly forced to reunite, while Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam's paths cross once again, this time as partners in this tag team match. Despite the lingering animosity between them, they put their differences aside and work together as a team, showcasing their undeniable chemistry and skill in the ring, whereas The Miz and Big Show are unable to work together at all. The Miz pays the price and takes the pin. We've made it to the Elimination Chamber, boys, and let me tell you, John Cena is a man that cannot be stopped, and has been booked into double duty as he once again lays down an open challenge for his United States title. This challenge was answered by the very large man, Ezekiel Jackson. Jackson is the definition of a powerhouse, however he does not have the hustle, loyalty, and respect that the champ is equipped with. It was an entertaining match, but ultimately the champ stands tall. Gail Kim challenges Beth Phoenix for the Undisputed Women's Championship in a rematch from the original title unification match. Beth Phoenix has been utterly unstoppable as of late, but Gail Kim is not afraid and certainly won't back down. The athletic high flyer clashed with the unrelenting powerhouse in this monumental showdown for the women's division. High impact moves were aplenty, and Gail Kim was finally able to dethrone Beth Phoenix, officially ending her title reign and crowning a new undisputed women's champion. Feeling outnumbered and overwhelmed by Batista's faction, David Hart Smith sought out allies to even the odds. Drawing inspiration from his family's legacy in the wrestling world, Smith reached out to 2 legendary figures, Jake the Snake Roberts and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Smith knows that he needs experienced veterans by his side if he hopes to stand a chance against Batista's faction. The match is a chaotic and intense affair, with both teams giving it their all. David Hart Smith executes a devastating power slam, pinning DiBiase Jr. for the victory. The WWE Universe erupts in cheers as Smith, Roberts, and Snuka celebrate their hard-fought win, throwing a wrench in Batista's plans. Jack Swagger and The Undertaker have been butting heads for weeks, with Swagger having nothing to show from these encounters except frustration as he's taking consecutive losses from the Phenom. Following a vicious assault on SmackDown at the hands of the All-American American, these two are set to clash one more time in a no-holds-barred match. These two have become very familiar with one another, and another quality yet high-intensity match was in store. After an absolute battle, The Undertaker is able to pull off the hat trick as he defeats Swagger for a 3rd time, eliminating any and all excuses. It's time for the Raw Elimination Chamber. Sheamus defends against Kane, Chris Jericho, Randy Orton, John Cena, and Edge. This was a star-studded match that highlighted how stacked the Raw roster is on the main event level. Every competitor in this match had held a world championship at some point, and that made for some intense action. It was unpredictable, and champion Sheamus was faced with a huge task if he intends on retaining his title. The daunting environment of the Elimination Chamber had worn down each and every competitor within the structure. Eventually, it came down to Sheamus and Randy Orton. These two would fight until failure, and it wasn't easy, but Sheamus would be able to retain the WWE Championship after eliminating his final adversary. And to main event the night, another star-studded Elimination Chamber match, this time for the World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Big Show is set to defend against Shelton Benjamin, Rob Van Dam, The Miz, CM Punk, and returning legend The Rock. In another extremely competitive clash, any one of these guys could emerge as the World Heavyweight Champion, however that does mean meeting The Undertaker at WrestleMania as well. The Miz was finally able to get some revenge on Big Show by eliminating him, but what would shortly follow is the most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment, the People's Elbow. And with that maneuver, a new World Heavyweight Champion was crowned to end the show. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to keep this content coming. To kick off Raw, the show opens with John Cena addressing the WWE Universe, proudly displaying the United States Championship around his waist. Cena expresses his gratitude for the fans' support and vows to be a fighting champion, defending the title against all comers. Legends Jake Roberts and Jimmy Snuka are set to challenge the tag team champions for their gold. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. have been riding high since joining with Batista as the VIP, but another loss to these retired vets could really hurt their morale. It was an exciting matchup where the styles of yesterday came face to face with the techniques of tomorrow. Jake the Snake seemed to be setting up for a DDT, but wasn't able to execute. In the end, Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. were able to tough it out and secure the victory. More tag team action tonight. This time, it's the Big Match Johns taking on the team of Primo and Santino Marella. The match is fast-paced and action-packed, with Cena and Morrison showcasing their incredible chemistry and teamwork to pick up a dominating victory. The main event of the night features the WWE Champion Sheamus, who just survived the Elimination Chamber, going one-on-one with Chris Jericho, a fellow Elimination Chamber competitor. Jericho clearly is unhappy with the results of his performance over the weekend, as he was the first to be eliminated. The two would put on a hard-hitting match that saw the champion tested, though he was eventually able to hit some high-impact offense and end the match in his favor. Following the bout, Kane makes his rage felt by attacking the champion, warning Sheamus that he will not stop until he becomes WWE Champion. Over on SmackDown, the show begins with The Undertaker making his ominous presence felt in the entire arena. He delivers a chilling promo, declaring his intentions to once again become the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. The WWE Universe is electrified by The Undertaker's words as he sets his sight on reclaiming championship gold. Theodore Long is backstage, looking as official as ever, and announces the return of the Money in the Bank ladder match this year. Theodore Long states that there are still open slots in the match, and the final slots will be filled through qualifying matches. The first of those qualifying matches immediately followed the announcement, which pits Rey Mysterio against Jack Swagger. Both of these guys have had their moments in this universe mode, but both of them also need to make a big impact to get back in the main event, and winning the Money in the Bank briefcase would do just that. It was an exciting match that in the end saw Rey Mysterio walk away with his hand held in victory. Eve Torres has a shot to shoot herself up the women's division as she is set to go one-on-one with Mickie James. Mickie James, a former champion, is looking to elevate her status once again. Eve Torres definitely turned some heads, but in a highly competitive match, Mickie James came out on top here. The Rock is set to defend his newly won World Heavyweight Championship against Big Show. This giant has been angered, and it's not hard to tell why considering his loss of the World Heavyweight Championship over the weekend. It was a highly contested encounter, and The Miz even attempted to interfere and sabotage The Rock. However, the Great One showed his resilience and overcame the distraction to defend his championship. Sheamus is interviewed regarding the attack he suffered at the hands of Kane last week. Sheamus would again be targeted in a brutal backstage assault as Kane's pursuit of the WWE Championship intensifies. John Morrison faces off against William Regal. Regal accompanied by Vladimir Kozlov, and Morrison accompanied by John Cena. Morrison puts on an impressive display of athleticism and skill, defeating William Regal. After the match, Morrison stares down John Cena, sending a clear message to his friend that he intends to challenge for the United States Championship. Kane faces off against R-Truth in singles competition. The match is extremely one-sided, with an enraged Kane dominating Truth and sending a message to Sheamus that he is coming for the WWE Championship. In the main event, Batista goes one-on-one with Jake Roberts in an Extreme Rules match. While Batista may be wrestling against Jake Roberts, his intentions and focus are clearly on David Hart Smith. Batista targets Smith's family legacy, mocking his father in the middle of the match, and questioning Smith's ability to live up to his father's legacy. In a dominant performance, Batista makes Jake Roberts pay for aiding Smith to begin with. To kick off Friday Night SmackDown, Shelton Benjamin faces off against Drew McIntyre in a singles match to enter the Money in the Bank match. Drew McIntyre is a powerhouse who has recently been stepping up as a singles competitor, and the Intercontinental Champion is determined to take the next step in his career. As the match progresses, Rob Van Dam makes his presence felt, interfering in the bout and costing Shelton Benjamin the victory. The frustration between the two rivals boils over as they engage in a heated brawl, needing to be separated by WWE officials. Beth Phoenix and Mickie James are set to compete in singles competition. Mickie has positioned herself well and can expect a title match in the near future, but Beth Phoenix is looking to reclaim her place atop the women's division. It was an intense match that ultimately ended with Beth Phoenix's hand raised in victory. In the final match of the evening, another Money in the Bank qualifier, CM Punk is going one-on-one with Cody Rhodes. The match is highly competitive, with Rhodes and Punk showcasing their technical prowess in the ring. Two former Intercontinental Champions going at it. A victory here was not going to be easy for either man. Despite Cody Rhodes' best efforts, CM Punk manages to hit the go to sleep for the win, securing his spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Ted DiBiase Jr. and Zack Ryder are once again tasked with defending their tag team titles, this time against a mystery duo, and when I say mystery, I mean it. This cast of masked characters meant business once they stepped into the ring. Ryder and DiBiase Jr. were shook, and that was evident by the total control these conquistadors had throughout the match. New tag team champions were crowned, and everyone was left speechless. The tension between John Cena and John Morrison continues to escalate as they engage in a backstage confrontation. Both men express their respect for one another, but make it clear that they will do whatever it takes to be the United States champion. In a no disqualification match, Kane faced off against Randy Orton. The match is brutal and unforgiving, with Kane using weapons and underhanded tactics to overpower the Viper. Randy Orton ain't no bitch though, and he stood tall against the Big Red Machine, or at least he tried to. In the end, Kane would take out Orton with a chokeslam and secure the victory. After the match, Sheamus stormed the ring, looking for a bit of payback for Kane's attacks. The Celtic Warrior was able to bring down the Beast and gain the upper hand, even if only for a moment. In the main event, Batista and David Hart Smith continue their storied rivalry in another brutal encounter. A steel cage match in which someone must be pinned. Escaping the cage does no good. These two couldn't wait to tear each other apart given recent events. Batista embarrassed by his inability to defeat David Hart Smith, and Smith constantly fending off doubters and trying to maintain his status as a main eventer. It was a physical and personal contest, with both of these men trapped within the cage, using the environment to their advantage. D.H. Smith is able to continue fending off his doubters by securing another victory over the Animal. To open up the final SmackDown before WrestleMania, Gail Kim is set with an extremely tough task as she defends her undisputed women's championship against Mickie James and Beth Phoenix. These three titans of female wrestling are set to clash in this huge encounter, and none of these ladies are going to back down. It was hard fought, but in the end, it was Gail Kim who walked out still the undisputed women's champion. The Miz and Rob Van Dam face off in the final Money in the Bank qualifying match. The match is fast-paced and intense, with both men employing their cunning and unorthodox tactics to gain the upper hands as they vie for the final entry into the Money in the Bank ladder match. In the end, thanks to an interference from Shelton Benjamin just as RVD was beginning to build some momentum, it's The Miz who emerges victorious, hitting the skull-crushing finale to earn his spot in the huge match. In the main event, The Rock and The Undertaker, opponents in just a matter of days, are set to team up and take on the duo of Jack Swagger and Cody Rhodes. Tensions are extremely high between the champ and the challenger, as they continue to keep an eye on the other throughout this match. Jack Swagger and Cody Rhodes are more than formidable. However, these two megastars are laser focused and make light work of the opposing team as they send messages to their WrestleMania opponent. We've finally made it to WrestleMania. A huge match card is in store, and the night is kicked off by Total Chaos, the Money in the Bank ladder match. CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, and The Miz are all prepared to tear one another apart to claim the opportunity of a lifetime. These matches are always hectic, with so many things happening in and around the ring. The volatility of this match always makes for memorable moments, and nobody was going to walk out of this unscathed, but the potential reward is more than worth the physical sacrifice. After a tightly contested battle, The Miz was the one to pull the suspended briefcase, creating a large collective groan from the fans in attendance. The next match features two friends duking it out to call themselves the true United States champion. The Big Match Johns are set to go one-on-one in a match that I'm surprised it's taken this long to see, in all honesty. Two contrasting styles, one of power and charisma, the other with agility and finesse. These former tag team champions know each other extremely well, and that added to the excitement of this match as both competitors truly had to step up their game to outdo the other. John Morrison had seemingly been outshined by his tag team partner, and he was determined to change the perception that he is just a tag team wrestler. These two pushed one another to the limits in a phenomenal showdown that in the end crowned John Cena as the United States Champion. The animosity between Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam has reached a boiling point, with both superstars determined to prove their superiority in the ring. These two have traded victories over the other, and both are just a few months removed from competing for the World Heavyweight Championship. This competitive spirit and the drive to be the best has led to a bitter rivalry between the two competitors. This showdown in a TLC match for the Intercontinental Championship is a culmination of weeks, months rather, of intense competition and personal animosity. What was a friendship has since devolved into bitter feelings of resentment between the two, as both competitors feel like the other has kept them from becoming world champion. Fans were left to pick up their jaws from the floor after RVD hit a frog splash from the top of the ladder through a table outside of the ring, which would keep Benjamin down long enough to allow RVD to secure the Intercontinental Championship. The hatred between Batista and David Hart Smith has been brewing for over a year, stemming from Batista's jealousy of Smith's rapid rise to success beginning all the way from the Royal Rumble before last. Batista, feeling threatened by David Hart Smith's emergence as a top contender, has resorted to underhanded tactics to sabotage Smith's career and reputation. On the other hand, David Hart Smith, fueled by a desire to prove himself and honor his family's legacy, has refused to back down in the face of Batista's aggression. Their rivalry has reached a boiling point and will culminate in this last man standing match, with the stipulation added that the loser's career would come to an end after this match. Both men were determined to settle their differences once and for all, with Batista vowing to finally end the fairy tale of David Hart Smith. With their careers on the line, the stakes have never been higher. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. have been banned from ringside, leaving this one truly mano a mano, with no excuses or backing down. One thing is for certain whenever these two step in the ring together: brutality is ensured. The animal left it all in the ring, and Zack Ryder even broke his ban from ringside rules and tried to interfere in the match. The Hart Dungeon graduate gave it everything he had to preserve his young career, and the former champion continued to take punishment, regaining composure and getting to his feet after multiple Batista bombs. Batista, in total disbelief, continued his onslaught and eventually was able to keep D.H. Smith down, redeeming himself but also ending a young and promising career at the same time. The crowd is in shock, but the storybook career of David Hart Smith has been shut. For the Raw main event, the WWE title is on the line. The rivalry between Kane and Sheamus has been intense and action-packed, fueled by Kane's destructive pursuit of Sheamus's WWE Championship. Kane's rage and lack of mercy upon the roster, paired with his determination to prove himself as the dominant force in WWE, has led to a series of brutal confrontations between these two giants. With both men willing to go to any length to secure the victory, this was a clash that would be remembered for quite some time. Sheamus has spent most of this universe mode as a monster himself, but now he is the one who must stop Kane from continuing his path of destruction throughout the WWE. Neither man pulled any punches in this brutally physical encounter. Sheamus had given himself opportunities to put Kane down, but the big red monster truly seems unstoppable. Not long after, Kane would take control and keep Sheamus down, surprisingly ending his title reign, and leaving the entire WWE universe to wonder just what the WWE will look like with this monster as its champion. Finally, to headline WrestleMania, ChatGPT has cooked up one of the biggest matches of all time. The Undertaker, Royal Rumble winner and of course undefeated at WrestleMania, taking on the World Heavyweight Champion, the returning legend, The Rock. These two men, immortal in their own right, are set to tear the house down and make history. While these two have each had their share of diversions on the road to WrestleMania, the goal has been clear: main event the grandest stage of them all. Both men know what was coming from the other, and in turn their typical attempts at impactful offense came up short. It was a fight in every sense of the word, and these are two of the fiercest competitors in the history of this business. It took a barrage of chokeslams to keep the Great One at bay, and even then his offense was relentless. Most people would not be able to keep up with The Rock, but The Undertaker certainly is not most people. The match went back and forth, with nothing seeming to put their adversary down. In the end, The Undertaker would finally pull off a tombstone piledriver, keeping the People's Champ down for the 3 count, relinquishing the championship to the Dead Man, his perfect WrestleMania streak intact. What a ride it has been. Thank you to those who have stuck around all throughout this series. Stay tuned for what's to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.